What is up, Buffalo fanatics? Z-Bot, Rico. It's Rico and Bot on the Buffalo Fanatics YouTube channel on a Friday night. And Rico, it ain't just any Friday night. 'Twas the Friday night before the divisional round, where in roughly 24 hours from this very moment, we will know whether or not the Buffalo Bills are advancing on to championship weekend. It all starts tomorrow at Mile High Stadium in Denver, where the Buffalo Bills take on the number one seed in the AFC, Bo Nix, Sean Payton, and the Denver Broncos for the right to represent the AFC, at least one half of the AFC, in the AFC championship game. Rico, one down, two more to go to get to the bowl, and it all starts tomorrow. Not only does it start for the Bills, it kicks off the divisional round in general. With all that said, talk to me, baby. How are you feeling?
I am feeling great. First of all, I want to apologize to everybody. I know we kick off, but I had to pick up Mom Dukes from the airport. She's visiting for a week, and lo and behold, flight delayed. So there's a lot of wind. Listen, if you live out in the Atlantic, it's windy as ever, and they delay things for no reason. So her flight was supposed to come in at 6:30 Atlantic time, and it was delayed. You got to wait for her. So I apologize, but we're here now. She's upstairs. She's great. We're happening. We're here. How do I feel about being 2 games away?
Hold on. Before you get into it, let me ask you, how does Mama Duke's vibe with the Bills, and then in particular with a game like tomorrow where the stakes are as high as it gets? What does that look like?
Absolutely nothing.
Okay.
She knows nothing about the Buffalo Bills. She knows absolutely nothing. If it comes to sports, it's soccer. Or for the real folk, it's football, and that's it. And she's got right now. She's thrilled about the World Cup coming up. Haiti's made the World Cup, so we're gonna be rocking it. We're in the group of death, in my opinion. You know what I'm saying? You got Morocco, you got Scotland, you got Brazil. It's gonna be crazy. But when it comes to football, American football, bro, absolutely, I can say, hey, Ma, Josh Allen almost tore his knee last week. What kind of dish is that? What is that? She's gonna be. She won't know nothing about it. So big shout out to Mom Duke. She's hanging out upstairs. By the way, big shout out to Mama Bella watching right now.
Big time. She was very, 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 very pissed that we were 18 minutes late. She's been waiting. And we apologize to her and the masses. As I told the folks, you were trying out for the wide receiver position. You were this close to having to catch an overnight to Denver. This close.
I said, Mom, you're going to have to drive me to the airport again because Brandon Bean's calling. Here we are. So how do I feel about this game?
Yeah.
2 games away, man. Like, wild card weekend is out. We're in the divisional round, and I have a bit of I wouldn't call it a hot take, but I have I have a stance that I'm standing on that I think gives the Bills a slight advantage for tomorrow. Maybe I'm talking out of the side of my mouth, but maybe I'm onto something. We'll get into it afterwards, but I feel good about this matchup. I feel good about this one, and I mean, change my mind, someone. Change my mind why I shouldn't feel good about this game, of this upcoming game. But you tell me, are you feeling any different from when we were walking into going up against the Jacksonville Jaguars, or are these completely different stakes? This is a different game, different out. Look, listen, can't compare the two. What are your thoughts on that?
Weirdly enough, it's the wild card round I'm always the most nervous about, and I think it's because it is the immediate transition from games that, of course, matter, but not nearly as much, of course, as the playoffs do. So that initial transition always hits me like a bus. I'm never ready for it. Even if the Bills are like a 10-point favorite, you know, it does not hit me to where I immediately think, oh, this is going to be a cakewalk. This is going to be easy. Wild card round each and every year just hits me like a train, where the nerves come out of nowhere and they're here to stay throughout the week, all the way up until and through the game. Once the Bills get one under their belt, Rico, I feel like the nerves have calmed, right? And I'm kind of in that flow state. The crazy thing is, and I didn't really think about this until I did think about it. This is the 6th consecutive year in which the Buffalo Bills are at the very minimum in this exact spot, moving on to the divisional round.
Right.
That's pretty wild because I feel like it doesn't feel like that, even though it definitely does, obviously. I mean, with Josh Allen, they've gone every year, but his rookie year, it's just wild to think that we are now in the 6th consecutive year of making at least this round. And what's even more wild about that is there's only 4 teams that have ever done this. There's only 4 teams that have won a playoff game, at least one, in 6 straight years.
Incredible.
The New England Patriots, 3 Super Bowl titles in that span. Mm-hmm. The Kansas City Chiefs,
of course,
3 Super Bowl titles in that span. The Dallas Cowboys, 3 Super Bowl titles in that span. Of course, 2 against the Buffalo Bills. And then there's the Buffalo Bills, who not only do not have a trophy, but do not even have a Super Bowl appearance. I saw that graphic from CBS Sports. What's
Crazy.
so wild about that graphic, Rico, is even if the Bills were to have won 2 Super Bowls in that time span, they would still be the inferior team to the 3 others that had won 6 straight years. They have nothing. And this is why this year I think it's hitting me a bit more going into this round, that they are in this position for the 6th straight time. And it does feel like it is time to capitalize on this situation. And what we got from Josh Allen in this defense last weekend, Rico, I think that has you feeling way less nervous going into this one. Let's face it. When we went into Sunday, 1 p.m., just a couple of days ago, we weren't entirely sure what version of these Buffalo Bills we were going to get. Every single week throughout the year, we weren't entirely sure what version of these Buffalo Bills we were going to get. And when you go into a situation that you have not been in since 2019, Josh Allen's first ever playoff game, they had not played on the road in the wild card since. Of course, you're going into a situation where they have not won on the road in that particular spot in over 30 years.
Correct.
The number 1 run D, a team with an 8 straight winning record. Trevor Lawrence playing his best ball, the number 1 run D, like I mentioned. I mean, there's all these things. You really had, I think, a bit more uncertainty than you had in years past. But when you watch them put together what I found to be their most complete game of the season, including a vintage Josh Allen drive to win it and a vintage Buffalo Bills defensive stand at the end to seal it, it has you feeling better going into this game. So to answer your question, if you're asking me, am I nearly as nervous as last week? The answer is no. And I don't think it's got anything to do with the opponent, or not nearly as much. I think it's more so you got one under your belt. They showed you what they're capable of against the top team. I have no reason to doubt them going into this weekend. That doesn't mean they're guaranteed to win, but I have no reason to bet against my Buffalo Bills going into tomorrow afternoon based on what I saw last weekend. I know whether they win or lose, I am going to get their best outing, bar none, and what that results in, hopefully a W. But at the very minimum, you know those boys are going to be ready to play tomorrow.
They are going to be ready to play, and I think I think a lot of what you said earlier it stands for something, right? Where you go from regular season where it's all great, we're trying to get seeding, we're trying to get everything we can to bolster ourselves to get into the playoffs. But in that wild card game, there's something about that wild card game that all this preparation and you can be bounced out, right? And you're like, oh, all that for nothing, right? And there's edge, there's all these. They call it the wild card for a reason, because anything can take place, anything can go on. But once you get past that wild card, now the teams that deserve to be there are now you're about to see real solid football. But a question that has been just irking me these last couple weeks, I find that the analysts that are out on TV, radio, all that, they don't know how to take the Bills. They don't. The Bills have been so, I guess you can call it mysterious, if you will. I'll use that for lack of a better word, because nobody ever, the amount of takes that I see going, I'm with the Bills, I see them as my Super Bowl champs. They don't have enough. I'm not with the Bills. I think this is the end of the rope for them. They're not going to be able to do it. That was against the Jaguars.
Yeah.
Okay, so you go into this week, I'm with the Bills because if they looked the part, they weren't supposed to win that game against the better team, the hot team against the Jaguars. I'm with the Bills. The week progresses, and I'm not with the Bills because they lost Shavers, they lost this guy. They're not with the Bills, and the amount of reasons as to why they were with the Bills and then now they're not with the Bills. Pick a side and run with it.
Hold on. What did I tell you? We had a debate about this for a solid 20 minutes last week. I couldn't believe that you didn't see this coming, because this was always what it was going to be. You're right. But have you not noticed throughout the week that Jags game just been completely overlooked? It's been it's basically Josh Allen's gotten a lot of credit from many people. I get that, but you haven't really seen people bolstering up the team that went out there and played the way that they did, being able to do what they did without a run game, holding that team to 10 points going into the fourth quarter at home. Once again, Rico, it's just Josh Allen. That's the only conversation. But it'll happen again if they win tomorrow. It'll be Bo Nix. He's played 2 playoff games. They were both against the Bills. What'd you expect? Bo Nix, Josh Allen, what'd you expect? It'll happen again. This is why you got tunnel vision. And I feel like these boys are locked in. Thank God. Because you're nailing it. I mean, the outside noise is ridiculous.
And I'm trying to, like, it's one of those times, okay, I was a little unhinged. I was a little, like, amped up for this wildcard weekend. And now that things are settling down, the dust has now settled. Mm-hmm. What is it? The cream will rise to the top. All that stuff is going to happen. You're going to see the good teams really stand out and really, really show why they're there. But yet you still have analysts just, I don't know, and I get it. You're on TV, so you're supposed to, you know what I'm saying, have a take. So it's engaging. People can talk about it. But half the stuff y'all saying, y'all don't even believe it, man. Stand on something and go with it. So, like, right now, they love the Bills, but they don't love the Bills. They love Josh Allen because he's this, down the third. But if you were to ask them about anybody else, it's about Josh Allen. I'm getting sick of it. I'm sure the team, if I'm on the team, I mean, I guess I don't care as much because we're supposed to do what we're supposed to do. But, bro, where's the respect for the rest of the squad, right? J.A. is amazing. Don't get me wrong. But, fam, Cole Bishop has turned his career around. That should be a conversation to be had. Trey White had such an amazing game last week. That should be something to have, right? I understand that this O-line has been dominant the last few years. Talk about why they're still being dominant. We have the rushing champion. But y'all want to talk about Josh Allen. And then when it's not about Josh Allen, stop the run and you ain't got none. What? We just talked about how great Josh Allen was, but now it's like, stop the run and you ain't got none. Ask the Jaguars how that turned out for them. Stop the run and they got none. Well, 270 on your ass, 80% completion percentage on your ass. What are we talking about? Yo, put some respect on this team and let's roll. I respect the Broncos. I think the Broncos are going to come with it. But there's a lot of conversation. Oh, the Broncos got the number 2 defense. The Broncos have Pat Surtain. The Broncos this, the Broncos that. When we played the Broncos last year, and I know last year is a whole different ballgame, Pat Surtain was a non-factor. He was a non-factor. The type of offense we run, it's a lot of the shallow stuff. So pick your poison, figure out what you want to do. But listen, put some respect on the rest of this team's name. I'll tell you right now, James Cook was held to under 50 yards rushing. You don't think he's pissed off? You don't think he's ready to get after it? You think the O-line that's had the number 1 running back in the game is not ready to shove 250 pounds of Benito, 275 pounds of this guy? Bro, it's going to be, and I'm hoping that this is the case, it's going to be a lot of what we did not do against the Jaguars. Oh, you're going to get it in Denver. That I'm looking forward to. But these analysts, bro, they got me tight, man. They got me tight. Bro, rock with the boys or you don't rock with them. But pick a side, baby. Pick a side. Because when we do what we're supposed to do, stay on that side. Stay on that side. I love that. I think we've now become the underdogs. Not that it matters. But I think the lines have now kind of adjusted. I think the Broncos are up. I think they're favored by a 1.5 or whatnot. Love that part too. So we just got to make sure that we handle business and go for it. But man, you nailed it with this whole 20-minute conversation we had. This was going to happen. It's a lose-lose. And you said it. And here we are. So big game happening tomorrow. Am I excited? Yes. My man Koala said it best. He goes, the jitters aren't as high as it was in the wildcard game because I think the dust is now settled. Now it's going to be technique versus technique. It's going to be efficiency. It's going to be execution. Everything is tightened and faster and crisper. This is where we cannot have any mistakes. This is going to be a massive game for the Bills. 2 games, bro. 2 games. I feel the same way I felt last year. 2 more games. Handle business. You're 1 more game away. I'm excited. I'm trying to keep chill. We got to take care of the Broncos. and move on to the next. I hope I'm not the only one feeling the way I feel. I'm sure there's people in the chat that are like, woosah, but boy, man, I'm like, let's get it cracking. So tomorrow's game is gonna be a good one. I do have concern. I don't know what you're gonna have your thoughts on this. I do have slight concern with this higher elevation that people will be talking about. The air is a little thinner, so you're gonna have to get the old oxygen mask to kind of keep up. So I hope that doesn't play a factor in this game. But I mean, if you're a player, you're a player. You got to do what you got to do. So we'll see how that all shakes out in the end. But it's one of those games, man. We just 2 more games, man. 2 more games. We got to get it.
I've always appreciated the mutual respect between the Bills fan base and the Chiefs fan base. We got our man Cliff in saying, please make the Broncos one and done. I've seen a lot of this. I love this because I think, obviously, the Chiefs being division rivals with the Broncos. I don't even know if you can say rivals over the last 7 or so years. But, of course, division rivals are division rivals no matter how you shape it. Right. They're looking at this, though, and I think the Broncos have been running their mouth all year, right? They beat the Chiefs twice. They get the 1 seed. It's funny how things flip, right? The Dolphins, this kind of happened a couple of years ago when the Dolphins had the AFC East lead going into December. They blew it. The Bills stole it from them. Dolphins fans running their mouth like crazy. I feel like Broncos fans are probably doing the same to Chiefs fans, and the Chiefs fans know what the Bills have posed to them in the postseason. They've been their toughest out trying to make it towards the Super Bowl and solidify the dynasty that they've had. They're looking at these, Broncos fans saying, oh, this is our time, right? 1 seed, we're back. I got a feeling a lot of Chiefs fans are probably pulling for Buffalo tomorrow, if I were to guess it. They'd probably rather see their division rival one and done off of a 1 seed than the Bills get bounced, because they bounced the Bills several times themselves. They want to keep being the team that is considered to be the only team that can really bounce the Bills out of the playoffs, right? So I find that to be interesting. There's a word you mentioned here about the Bills that I thought was very accurate in describing them, and it was the word mysterious. And I think you can boil that right down to the betting lines. You were kind of alluding to the fact, hi, Peyton, you're watching me where on TV? You want to wave hi so you can go see yourself on TV? Are you nervous? There's your hand. There's your hand. This is my niece, Peyton. And you're going to be watching tomorrow, right? Go Bills. Peyton made me a big Bills sign that we still have up, right?
I love it.
We still have the sign up. And guess what? We're 1-0 with the sign up, Peyton. And we're going for 2-0 tomorrow. So you can thank my niece, Peyton, for getting us off to a hot start in the playoffs. We are 1-0 with the big sign up.
By the way, I love how your voice went up like 6 octaves. Hi, Peyton.
You got it. For the kids, man. Love it. For the kids. Yeah, doesn't everybody got the kid voice? The kid voice?
Oh, yeah.
It's like the animal voice, too. Like the way I talk to the cats. Like if I were to do that in a social setting, I would probably, I would probably have it removed. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. So you're looking at the betting lines, though. Yeah. You kind of alluded to the fact that no one really knows what to do with these Bills right now. Well, the betting public really doesn't know what to do with them either. Because last week, they open up as a favorite, right? Yep. And by the time the game rolls around, they're a dog. This past week, exact same thing. They open up as a favorite. By the time the game kicks off tomorrow, they're going to be a dog. So it's interesting because I feel like people don't know what to do with these Bills, Rico, to your point. They look at them and they think, yes, they got Josh Allen. But they have been perpetual exits in this round for years. And the only 2 times they've advanced, they've also lost in that round. They have 15 guys on the injury list. When that notification popped up the other day, it was from NFL.com. And it said the Buffalo Bills have 15 people. I had never seen anything like that in my life. The word 15 jumped off the page like it was in 3D. I have never seen that before. So people are looking at that. You're looking at 3 wide receivers going to season-ending designations. Yep. Josh Allen in his own right is as banged up as you can possibly be and still be considered a full participant and a starter. And then the defense and the rep that they've gotten over the years, including this year, whatever, all this goes into it. Once again, it comes down to one thing. It's 17. This is what has everybody so perplexed. You look at the team and you think, how can I bet on these guys? And then you look at the quarterback and it all makes sense. But people are struggling, Rico, with the two little, the devil and the angel on either shoulder. This is kind of how I see it. Where one part of one side of the shoulder saying, these Bills can't do it. They have no wide receivers. Their defense isn't very good. They lose in the playoffs all the time. Then you have the other side of the shoulder that's like, they got maybe the best quarterback I've ever seen. This dude isn't even from this planet. It doesn't make sense. When I watch this guy, I look around and I'm saying, is anybody else seeing this? Like, what even is this guy? This is what it is. And when you have these two voices in your ear, Rico, I think you come to the conclusion that you're like, I don't know what to do here. I don't know what to do. And there's times with me where I feel the same. I felt this way last week. But what wound up being the ultimate difference maker for me was the quarterback. And once again, I look at this game and I feel the same exact way. This is why every year when you go into games against Mahomes or Burrow or Lamar, the reason why everybody's talking about that is because you feel that. You are threatened by that. Where I feel like is in this game, and the game last week, and really every game moving forward, unless the Bills find a way to take on Matt Stafford and the LA Rams. Every one of these games, you look at it, and you can make every argument in the book to take the other team, Rico, but the one thing you can't argue against is the one guy the Bills have and nobody else has, and that's 17. And that's why I think everything feels so mysterious right now.
I tell you, they're doing their best, and I get it. They've got to pump up this week and generate a lot of, back and forth and conversation. One topic of conversation that's come up. Obviously, Josh Allen is a beast, and we've been hearing it. We've known this for a long time. The minute that brother jumped over Anthony Barr, we knew he was different. We knew he was different then. And then he just started to do way more and exceed it. And there's a whole lot of nothing that this guy can't do. We know that with Josh Allen. I bring this up because there was an interesting nugget that our guy Bobby found, and I found this extremely interesting. So obviously they like to pit quarterback v quarterback, right? It's going to be Bo Nix, Josh Allen, experience versus inexperience. This is a rematch, a rubber match, whatever you want to call it, because this is for them, right? I came in as a rookie, so it's all going to be. I came in as a rookie. I didn't know as much. Now I got a full slate of a season under my belt. I got a pretty much a damn elite head coach, whether you want to call him Hall of Fame. That's a whole different ball game. We're ready this time. Did you know, ladies and gentlemen, Bo Nix has his struggles. We know that, right? It's been, how many games has he had to come back? They say that he plays better when he's down. So does Josh. Let's keep rolling. Bo Nix has struggled against disguise coverages this season. Ladies and gentlemen, I found this fascinating. The Bills are one of the top teams in disguise coverages. According to Pro Football Focus, when Bo Nix faced two high safeties switching to a one high coverage in rotation, his EPA dropback was 0.26. Sorry, minus 0.26. Against one high switching to a two high coverage rotations, his EPA per dropback was minus 0.02. To put that into perspective, right? Rookie Tennessee Titans Cam Ward ranked 33rd in EPA per dropback among qualifying quarterbacks, and it was minus 0.15. Nix's performance dips significantly against disguise coverages. By the way, the Bills disguise on 40% of their snaps. The league average is 33. I hope we confuse the heck out of that. But I bring all of this up because I don't want it to be just a Josh Allen game. I want respect to be put on this defense. And I know we don't defend the run best, but when we want to put quarterbacks in a bind, especially young quarterbacks, McDermott is very good at doing that. I hope that this defense comes out and just shuts down a lot of this narrative that Josh is the one carrying this team. Bro, we got a little something on the defensive side of the ball, and I'm hoping that they pull all the stops and they handle business. But this game has me excited for it, but I'm in a calm excitement. But when I hear this stuff, I'm like, okay, shoot, they're talking about edges. That's an edge. And I'm hoping that we take full advantage of that edge right there.
No doubt about it. And I think some people are looking at this game and they think that Sean Payton and his playoff experience is an advantage. But the funny thing is that it isn't. He's just been coaching for a very long time, right? And you're looking at some of his playoff resume. The Saints have, during his time with New Orleans, they had some of the most heartbreaking losses you could possibly imagine. The Minneapolis Miracle. They lost in overtime to the Minnesota Vikings again a couple of years later. They lost to the Rams. Remember the no call on Roby Coleman, the no pass interference call?
Ooh.
Yeah. They have lost a litany of heartbreakers. And when he won the Super Bowl back in 2009, and ever since then, this is Sean Payton's resume since the 2009 Super Bowl. Loss in the wild card, loss in the divisional, loss in the divisional, loss in the divisional, loss in the championship game, loss in the wild card, loss in the divisional, loss in the wild card. So since the Super Bowl victory back in 2009, Sean Payton has one conference title appearance since. So in half of the coaching career, Sean McDermott's got two. Obviously, doesn't have the Super Bowl to show for it. I get all that.
Yep.
But this idea that the Broncos have this massive coaching advantage, this is where Sean McDermott just does not get credit. And you alluded to it just a couple of minutes ago. Like, Sean McDermott won't get credit for that the disguised coverage that he shows that had Trevor Lawrence play his worst game in the last 2 months. Like, he won't get credit for that. He won't get credit for it if he does it again tomorrow. And you mentioned what could be one of the more pivotal aspects of this game, and it's that Bo Nix is not good when going up against disguised coverage. You alluded to it a little bit, but it goes even deeper. There was an article from the New York Times that touched on this, and it really illustrates how much he's struggled against what the Bills are capable of displaying to him, much like they just did to Trevor Lawrence in the wild card round. This was posted by Ted Nugent on Twitter. It's from the New York Times. And he says, Bo Nix has struggled against design coverage this season. According to Pro Football Focus, like you mentioned that the EPA per dropback was minus 0.26, right? So if we're comparing that to rookie Cam Ward, he was 33rd in EPA per dropback among qualified quarterbacks. And Bo Nix's performance dips even worse than that. The Bills disguised their coverage on 40% of snaps, which is 7% higher than the league average. So you're talking about a rookie in Cam Ward who comes into an offense that's essentially non-existent. He's at the bottom of the league, and that's where Bo Nix himself is also at too. Bo Nix, when facing winning teams with winning records who score more than 20 points, he's 1-7 in his career. I know it all doesn't just boil down to the quarterback, and I know how great this Denver defense is. But the quarterback aspect of this is massive. And in last year's game, it was still the same quarterback and many of the same offensive weapons. They scored on their first drive, and they never scored again. As good as this Denver defense is, the Denver Broncos are going to have to put points up on offense in order to win the football game. You're not going to win like the Seahawks beat the Niners a couple of weeks ago, 13-3. You're not going to win like the Texans just beat the Steelers. That's not going to happen with Josh Allen. And the only way you're going to do that is if you force multiple turnovers. And this is one of the keys, again, to this football game. I found a theme throughout the year when it came to the Bills playing top-tier defenses and losing. And the theme was a bad Josh Allen turnover or two. The theme was exactly the same. The Atlanta Falcons game, 2 interceptions from Josh Allen, sub 20 points, loss. The Houston Texans game, 2 Josh Allen interceptions, sub 20 points, loss. The Philadelphia Eagles game, that brutal fumble when they were in scoring territory, sub 20 points, lost. The interesting thing here, though, is that in every single one of those games, you're going up against a top-tier defense, and despite the turnovers from Allen and the low output on offense, they had a chance to win the game on their final series in all 3 of those games. And if we're looking at what the separator was that did not allow them to have a lead before then and force them to have to score on the final drive to win, which they couldn't, it is the turnovers. But luckily for us and luckily for the Bills, Josh Allen is now on his 6th consecutive playoff game without throwing an interception. Should he do so again tomorrow, it would be 7. He's thrown 1 in his last 7 games. The last pick Josh Allen threw in the playoffs was in that disastrous divisional outing against the Cincinnati Bengals. That is the last time Josh Allen has thrown a pick in the playoffs. So I bring this up because if you go back to when the Bills played these elite defenses, had just not turned the ball over, they're winning at least 2 of those 3. They're not losing all 3 of them. In those 3 games, Josh Allen had a combined 5 turnovers, and they lost all 3 of those games. They scored below 20 in all of those games. If the theme can continue, because we just got a sample size, did we not, Rico?
Absolutely.
You can't discount what that Jags defense was. We can't do it now. You want to talk them up all last week? Well, we're going to continue to talk them up. That's a damn good defense. And guess what? They did exactly what they should have done, what everybody expected them to do. They eliminated the run game. James Cook was non-existent. And what happened? Josh Allen, 3 total touchdowns, the highest overall graded quarterback of the weekend, 27 points in a victory. So what did we get? A Josh Allen outing with no run game against an elite defense where he didn't turn it over. And what happened? They won the football game. So even though we're going up against the stout defense tomorrow, I go back to the old cliche. And I don't care that it's a cliche because to me, this is the do or die difference in the football game. Josh Allen plays clean football. The guy doesn't lose. Yep. So if Josh Allen doesn't turn the ball over, I have a very, very massive hunch that means the Buffalo Bills are in the best position possible to move on the championship round.
Bro, you got me a little juiced up a little bit. You got me a little juiced up. I don't want to get juiced up. I'm trying to remain calm. Don't get over the top. But I'll say this because I'm going to just piggyback slightly because you freaking nailed it. I don't want to even add anything, but I just want to add a slight thing. What we saw last week should be something that makes Bills fans excited. For myself, that's what I wanted, right? We saw how we reacted when the Bills won, right? It wasn't that we're trying to make a huge comeback. This was, all right, we just fumbled the football. We just gave them the ball back. Golly, they scored. Okay. All right. We got a defensive stop. All right. Here comes Josh Allen. Josh Allen had to make play when the plays needed to be done and made, and he did it. He was clutch. He came through. That proved a lot to me, especially because we didn't have to rely on James Cook. James Cook was bottled up. They did a fantastic job on bottling up. So 17 and the O-line had to execute. But big kudos goes to Joe Brady, right? A lot of this, we can talk about how great Josh Allen is and how great all this was. We didn't give up on the run. He still had 15 carries in terms of James Cook. But Joe Brady did something that game against the Jaguars, that we're going to need a lot more of going into this one. We faced a good defense, I don't think as good as the Denver Broncos defense, but they presented different challenges. This one here, Joe Brady, as aggressive and as fast as his defense is, this is where we're going to have to rely on that screen game. This is where we're going to have to rely on that. I know we say, man, enough of the mesh. Let's get something deep. This is where scheming is going to have to take you're going to have to amp that up another level, because going up against, listen, that Jaguars defense was not a joke. We're going up against another great defense. And then next week, if the Bills do what they need to do, you're facing either the Patriots ran by Vrabel, or you're going up against a very good, amazing defense by the Texans. And by the way, the Texans are without Nico Collins. Go figure. But I bring all this up is Josh Allen's got to be great, but we've got to execute. And it starts with Joe Brady. Joe Brady's got to bring out the best out of Josh, bring out the best out of this offense, have them execute, and hopefully we are talking about, AFC Championship. But this time, when we're talking about AFC Championship, bro, one more game away. I don't want to get there yet. But I think the scheming is going to have to be a big, big part of this game. Defense, we're going to talk about in a little bit. But this scheme with Joe Brady and how Josh looked great. Kudos to Joe Brady that put him in the right position with right decision-making. And playoff Josh is just different. I don't know how that brother just turns it on, but he's just different. So kudos to that brother. Love what I'm seeing from the Bills. I just need that to keep it up for 2 more weeks, and we can get this thing cracking. So I'm going to put you on the spot a little bit. We heard that the Broncos elevated Elijah Moore to the active roster. Allegedly, Elijah Moore was, I guess, quoted. I don't know if the source was true or not, but I saw something written. I told them everything they need to know. I told them everything. I sang like a canary. I told them everything. Cool. You got to do what you got to do. Right? He just spilled his beans. Not only that, they activated this brother. They haven't activated it since they brought him onto the squad, from my understanding, and they activate him for this game. What are your thoughts when players go to another team, spent a portion of their year on one team, it didn't work out, they go to another team, and now give me the information? If you're Elijah Moore, are you saying anything, or are you just saying, hey guys, let's just play ball? Like, if you want me on the team, put me on the team so I can actually get some reps in. But if you're just signing me just to talk, I ain't talking. How do you feel about that? Are you in on that, or do what you got to do, because that's your new team? You got to give it up.
Oh, yeah. I would run my mouth like a canary, like you said. Listen, this is my new team. But I find this to be hilarious.
Talk to me.
NB Mafia set me up earlier. I'm glad you're bringing this up because I wanted to talk about this. He's saying Elijah Moore told the Broncos everything they need to know about our offense, and he's playing tomorrow. Are we effed? Allow me to tell you everything about these Buffalo Bills offense, okay? Allow me to tell you what I think Elijah Moore probably said, okay? They got an absolute freak at quarterback.
Time out.
Hold on.
I'm Sean Payton.
Yeah.
Hey, Elijah.
Yeah.
Love that you're here.
Mm-hmm.
We're going up against a big opponent, Josh Allen, the whole squad. You know that team. You know the quarterback. You know the offense. What are we dealing with today? What are we going to be dealing with this Saturday? What do you got?
And I'll tell you, Sean, you're dealing with what you already know you're dealing with. You're dealing with an alien at quarterback. You're dealing with the rushing title winner. And beyond that, you know exactly what they're going to do. The question is, are you going to stop it? Because every single person who has watched these Buffalo Bills throughout the year knows what they're going to do. They're going to run 8 to 10 bubble screens. You can book it. Just a matter of when they're going to do it. They are going to run the ball on first down probably 93% of the time, if not more. If James Cook is off and running early, he's going to have 20 carries. And also, you got to stop Josh Allen, who statistically is one of the best playoff quarterbacks of all time. Now, if you can do all that, Sean, should be a W. In terms of X's and O's, I don't really know what to tell you, because I don't really think it matters much. They don't have a wide receiver core that threatens you. And your top guys, your top unit, Pat Surtain and company, I mean, really, what's the objective? Remove Khalil Shakir from the game? Because then they'll just go to the next guy, and it's not like they have this one guy that you got to target in on. So at the end of the day, I feel like Elijah Moore doesn't have much to give Sean Payton, because everybody knows what the Bills are already going to do. Everybody. Elijah. I know what they're going to do.
Elijah, what's it going to take? How much money is it going to take for you to give me the information I need? What?
Listen, Sean, you can listen. We want to go down that route again, Sean, where you're paying players behind the scenes. Okay, we can do that. But you can pay me all you want, but I just gave you everything that I could possibly give you for free.
So what's with this receiver? What's with the receiver room? I get it. You told me something I already know. Josh is an alien.
Yeah.
But like, what kind of concepts can I tell my defensive coordinator to watch out for?
Yeah, tell your defensive coordinator that when Khalil Shakir goes in motion, Josh Allen's going to whip him the ball on either the left or right side of the field, usually on 3rd and long, and it's going to be a bubble screen, and you're going to have to get Khalil Shakir on the ground. You are also probably going to have to find a way to stop the tight ends, which, once again, if there's one area of this defense that they're not particularly great in compared to the rest, it is that area. But really what it all boils down to is, if Josh Allen's on his game, I don't quite know what it is you're going to be able to do to shut him down. The one thing I would say is that you got to hit him. That is the one thing that I think separates Josh Allen from having his best performance to Josh Allen having a mediocre outing. You have got to hit him. But you got to do it, Rico, without blitzing him. Because if you blitz Josh Allen, he is going to absolutely torch you. You are going to need to get home with your front four, and not just get home, but you are going to have to hit him. And you're going to have to hit him often, because when you're not making contact with him, he absolutely torches you. And when you're blitzing and not getting home, he absolutely torches you. We can just go back to this past weekend, by the way, where Josh Allen was under pressure on 12 of his attempts. and he was 9 of 12 for $144. Now, I think we are facing a more lethal pass rush here. But I go back to that Texans game, that Atlanta game. They got home on Allen. If there's one thing I can tell you, it's that. Now, that's got nothing to do with scheme, or it's got nothing to do with X's and O's on the Bills' offensive side of things. That's got everything to do with your defense winning in the trenches. If you can't do that, you're going to get burned. And you can't do it by sending the house. You're going to have to do it with your front line and that alone.
Tackling is going to be a big deal for these Broncos. And I don't know. I don't have the concrete numbers. I'm going to find out. But the Broncos are not a very good team at tackling. Tackling is one of the things that they struggle in. So this is where guys like James Cook comes in. This is where guys like Elijah Moore. This is where guys like Khalil Shakir come in, right? If we can be as elusive as we are, we have the advantage. That's why scheming is going to be a big deal in taking advantage of this Broncos defense. Because all I've been hearing is how great they are. They're so great. They're this and they're that. Riley Moss and company, they're one of the top teams in the game that lead in pass interference, right? They're an aggressive defensive back. So
they lead by a wide margin, by the way. They are they have well over 1,000 yards in penalties this year.
This is what I'm saying, man. So this team is not as flawless as they want to make the Broncos seem. They have their flaws, and the Bills need to exploit them quickly, find out where they're at, and go for it, and absolutely go for it. So I'm looking forward to seeing what Joe Brady in this offense looks like going into it. A quick start, because you got to get Bo Nix and these boys behind. Because I think if I'm the Broncos, I'm doing everything in my power to start quick, get on the board quickly, and make Josh play under pressure all day. And I'm not talking about getting after him and blitzing him. I'm talking about having to not make mistakes, because that is crucial. I'm down 7. I got to tie this up and score. Shit. Now I'm down 14. Okay. I'm down 2 scores. Now the level, the margin of error has shrunk tremendously. I've got to, how many times were we like, man, this is the drive of the game against the Broncos.
Oh my God.
This is the drive of the game. Shit. If we win this game, that was the pass of the game. And then a drive later on, we got to pass to freaking Brandon Cooks down the sideline. Like, there were so many moments in that game where we were just like, this is it. This is what it comes. There were like 3 or 4 moments that we were in that position. I don't want the Bills to be in that position. I want them to, at least that's what we want, to try to be in control. But the Broncos are going to do everything they can to get up on these guys and then send the dogs, and then have Josh play from behind and play under pressure, which he's fantastic at. But this is where we need everybody on that page. But when Josh is playing above, boy, we're a very good team. Go ahead.
Let me illuminate this point, because Kay Adams earlier today put out a crazy stat to kind of back up what I'm speaking on here.
Okay.
This is based on the 2025 splits for Josh Allen when he's under pressure. And she compiled the stats in games in which he was hit 6+ times and games in which he was hit fewer than 6 times. In the games that Josh Allen was hit 6+ times, 1 in 4 record, a 6 touchdown to 6 interception ratio, and a passer rating of 87.3. When Josh Allen was hit less than 6 times, an 11 in 1 record, a 19 touchdown to 4 interception ratio, and a passer rating of 110. You get home, you got a chance. You don't get home,
cooked.
History will tell you he's going to cook you. The Denver Broncos can get home, but the question is, can they finish the job? And the Atlanta Falcons did. The Houston Texans did, right? That's what you're going to have to do. You're going to have to hit him. And you would think you'd have the opportunity to do it. He's as banged up, I think, as he's ever been. But are they going to be able to do it? I mean, this Denver Broncos defense, by the way, is phenomenal. But there are some games this year that I've watched against very, very bad quarterback play where the game comes down to the last series. The New York Jets game overseas earlier in the year was the worst game I've ever watched in my life. And I'm not even exaggerating. Go back. If you Google the highlights of that game, I bet you they're probably 30 seconds in length. That was one of the worst games I've ever seen. And the Jets had an opportunity to kick a game-winning field goal, and the clock was so poorly managed that they weren't even able to get the kickoff, and they lost by 2, 13-11. They beat the New York Giants by 1 point this year, 33-32. They played the Las Vegas Raiders twice this year. The only other team that has an argument with the New York Jets for being the worst in football. Both games, Rico, came down to one score. Both games. And then they played the Chiefs backups before the end of the year, and they beat them by a score. And when you're looking at the way that they ended the season, 2 straight games where they were 20 points or less on offense as well. Now, I'm not trying to bring the regular season into the postseason because we know it's a whole different ballgame. But I'm saying that I've watched games this year. Marcus Mariota, by the way, with the Commanders, took this team to overtime and had a chance to win. All year long, I've watched inferior quarterback play go toe-to-toe with this Denver Broncos defense all the way till the end. I have no reason to believe that Josh Allen won't be able to do the same. Now, it doesn't mean it's going to translate into him having this electric off-the-charts game, but I'm just saying that throughout the course of the year here, I've watched quarterbacks that would literally be, if we're comparing them to Josh Allen, they wouldn't even be in the league if that's the threshold, and they've taken them right down to the wire more often than not. So I just think that, once again, the advantage here is the fact that Josh Allen is the quarterback of the Buffalo Bills. Point blank.
There's no question about that. By the way, speaking of Josh Allen obviously is a married man. He's going to be expecting a child sometime in the very near future. Very happy man, and he stays away from the internet. So we think. I'm sure he has a burner somewhere. There's a burner somewhere. So the internet is a funny place. Would you agree?
It is awfully comical, Rico.
It's a comical place. It turns out Josh Allen's lady. There's footage. There's picture of her donning Broncos gear, giving the old.
I don't know what it was. The dab.
There was a little dab action going on. What say you of finding out your girl was in some? Could you imagine Caroline years prior before y'all are dating, and she's rocking a Patriots t-shirt, or she's got a little Jets mini fake tattoo on the old bicep, and you're sitting here. Who are you? Your thoughts on Josh Allen being made aware that his girl was donning the Broncos gear?
I can imagine it. There is a photo of Caroline in a James Decker New York Jets jersey. That's because Caroline's older sister was a huge fan of James Decker's wife. And there was a period of time that she went through where she was like obsessed with this woman, and they owned James Decker jerseys. Caroline had one, which, hilarious because it's the Jets. If it was like a Chiefs jersey, I think we'd have a bigger problem here, Rico. I could laugh at it because it's the Jets. Right. I want to give a shout out to one person in particular, one of the best in the business, Tracy Wolfson. Because that wouldn't have gotten across Josh Allen's desk had she not have brought it to him and put it in front of him. And if I know Josh Allen, he'll grasp at anything, I think, to give himself a little bit of added motivation. And you see everyone and their mother is using that picture of Haley Steinfeld to sort of rib on Josh Allen pre-divisional game. You don't think that's doing the opposite of what people are intending it to do? You don't think Josh Allen seeing a photo of his wife against the team that they're playing in the divisional round and thinking anything other than, all right, yeah, you can send a picture of my wife all around the internet trying to get at me. All that's doing is fueling the fire. Speaking of my wife and Josh Allen, soon to be delivering a baby of his own. Shout out to my wife and my baby, Zoe, who is clean as a whistle. Yep. There's fresh out the tub. Look at this. My sweet, sweet Zoe Jane, clean as a whistle. Look at her. Oh, my God. Look at that chin. Folks, take a look at this chin action.
You got mama's chin or daddy's chin?
She's got mama's chin. That is a mama chin. Now, that's hereditary, by the way. That is hereditary.
There you go.
Caroline could literally weigh 80 pounds soaking wet. The chin would remain. It's hereditary. It is a gene. The genes in which we both possess are very dominant, and that would be one of them. But anyway, to answer your question there.
I really do wonder, and I pray that she has a sweet, soothing, calming voice, because if she comes out with daddy's voice, look out. Look out. Got to get her behind the mic,
right? Got to get her behind the mic, get her yapping.
Get her going.
I'm telling you, though, the second I saw that picture of Haley Steinfeld, I smiled. I said, this is not going to be what everybody thinks it's going to be. This is going to be the opposite. And when I saw that Tracy Wolfson showed it to him, I'm like, give her a round of applause, because he's going to see that, and it's going to piss him off. And
you're Josh Allen.
Yeah.
Hey, babe, when did you take that picture?
You know what he said? He said it was kind of like a low key dig. He said she was paid. I think he said she was paid to do it.
I love it. Listen, Josh Allen, I'll tell you, man, he's witty. He's quick, man. And if a guy like that, I don't. It doesn't surprise me if you're a fan of shows like The Office and you're a Frank Sinatra guy, bro. You got to be quick witted. You got to be like on it, and that boy is on it. Like there's not a whole lot you can get past this boy, and love seeing it. But I found that so fascinating that these guys are trying to stir some things up. I bet you they've been sitting on that picture for a minute. Yo, if the Bills beat the Jags and they're facing the Broncos, we're gonna wait until like a day or two before the game. Boom, put it out there. And now you're just going to piss off Josh Allen even more. So
last thing I would do with one of the world's greatest athletes is poke the bear by using a photo of his pregnant wife. I'll tell you what, that's the last thing I would do. But hey, that's just me. And hey, the cat's out of the bag. Shout out to Tracy Wolfson for getting the evidence in front of him, because I'm sure that'll be one little more bulletin board thing to add. And I know this is constantly brought up. Does it really matter? Does it really matter? Probably not. But if you think that that's like hindering him, or that's like somehow making fun of him, I think that would be the worst possible way to look at it.
Well, I'll tell you who's not hindered, and I'll tell you who's going to be fully mobile and ready to roll. Curtis Samuel, ladies and gentlemen. Curtis Samuel,
who we were all thinking
going to be ready. We've been waiting to find out when is it going to be reactivated? When are they going to have time to bring him back onto the roster? And ladies and gentlemen, Curtis Samuel has been elevated and will be playing this game against the Broncos. And if you remember last year, Curtis Samuel had one of the bigger plays of the game, which kind of broke it open. And then the Bills just went on to do what they do.
Good point.
But there was other news that came out today that was a pretty big deal. Did you hear it? I'm not sure if you did.
I kind of had a busy Friday. Like, I really wasn't locked in. You're going to have to fill me in. What was it?
I'm going to have to fill you in. Ladies and gentlemen, Edward Oliver.
Oh.
Edward Oliver has been activated. He is ready to go. Folks, it's been a debate. Will he be ready for the playoffs? Will he be ready for the wild card? We may have to wait if the Bills make the Super Bowl. That's when you will see Mr. Ed Oliver. Well, folks, put all your doubts aside. He will play. The real question will become, how many snaps does he get? It's the playoffs. Damn all the how many snaps can he get? Get that brother in on downs that matter, the money downs, and let him do what he does. So now we will have a fortified line. The only wish I have is that Michael Hoyt were healthy and he'd be in this game. Boy, would that be fun. But folks, if I was a bicycle, I'd be my grandmother. I think that's the way the line goes. I'm not too sure. But anyway, you catch my drift. This is where we're at. Deion Walker, Daquan Jones. We will see if Larry Ogunjobi makes an appearance to fortify that run play, but I doubt it's going to be that because my man Ed Oliver's showing up. What does it mean to this Bills defensive front, to this Bills defense, the locker room, to have 91 back on the field amongst his boys in a pivotal game on the road in Denver? What were your thoughts when you found out this brother's active? He's ready to play. What are we talking about here?
For starters, like the ingenuity and just the modern marvel that is the modern athlete is just unbelievable. My dad suffered a very similar injury mowing the lawn a couple of months ago. And I mean, he was out of work for 4 months. And newsflash, my dad isn't playing D tackle for the Bills. So the fact that this guy is ready to go and play a playoff game in this quick a duration is unbelievable. Ed Oliver was off to an unbelievable start to this year. He was just incredible. He flipped the game against the Ravens, and he had a sack in all 3 of the games in which he played this year. The presence that Ed Oliver now brings cannot be understated, whether it is in a limited capacity or not. It opens up everything else. For Groot, who got home last week. For Joey Bosa, who I didn't think had his best outing last week. it opens things up for the rest of the squad. This is why the presence has been so missed. And this defense has been playing their best ball. The secondary has been balling out. I could not have been more wrong on Tre'Davious White. And, back when you and I talked about it, and you said this guy's going to be vying for a role, and I just didn't see it. With the amount of guys the Bills have brought back as what felt to be a feel-good story over the years, you draft Max Harrison. I just didn't think we would see Tre'Davious White playing in some massive role for these Bills. He's been playing the best corner of his career, or some of the best ball of the last 5 years of his career. And if you would have asked me preseason if I thought Tre'Davious White would be the highest graded corner in a wild card game and be playing some of the best football on the defensive side of the ball in January, I would have been like, are you playing Madden? I don't understand what you're getting at here. The guy just went from 2 different teams post-Buffalo, multiple massive injuries in his career. This guy is balling out. So you're getting the best version of this Bills defense, I think, over the last couple of months this season here. And now you're adding Ed, a crucial factor here, because Bo Nix, once again, second-year quarterback, second ever playoff game. Getting after him is going to be pivotal. Much like we talked about the Denver D trying to get after Josh Allen, it's 10 times more important for Buffalo, because I just don't think that's a guy that's going to be set up to overcome it with this lack of experience and with really a wide receiver core that I find to be inferior to that of Jacksonville's last week, if we're being honest. Cortland Sutton is damn good, but if Tre'Davious White can play the way that he's been playing, right? I look at last week, they had 3 really solid wide receivers, Jacksonville did. They only allowed one guy in Parker Washington to have a substantial outing. Jacoby Myers and Brian Thomas Jr. were essentially eliminated from that football game outside of the touchdown. So getting after Bo Nix is going to be huge. Whether or not Ed Oliver is out there for every snap, to me, is irrelevant, because you still have to factor in him being out there when he is out there. And I just think beyond his overall play, what that brings to the rest of the line, Rico, is going to be big in a game where I find getting after Bo Nix could be a massive swing for the Bills defense towards winning this game.
Listen, there's no question about it. And what I love about the addition of Ed Oliver is the one thing that we have been clamoring for, we've been wanting as Bills fans, right? We brought in Joey Bosa to bolster that department, and that's the pass rush, right? That's the ability to get quarterback off kilter, get him off schedule. And now when they're off schedule, now there's not many quarterbacks that can improvise on the run and do great things, right? Josh Allen's one of them. Pat Mahomes is another. Lamar is absolutely fantastic at that. But there's not many guys that can just on the fly. Baker Mayfield seems to be one guy that stands out to me that can really do those things. Bo Nix, athletic guy. But if we can get that brother off kilter, get him confused with what he sees, boy, the addition of Ed Oliver on the money downs, third, mid, third, and long. And now you have Greg Rousseau on one side, Joey Bosa on another, that's been healthy all year, might I add, with a combination of Deion Walker, which gets in the passing lanes. Like this I'm looking forward to. This addition of Ed is going to be crucial for this defense, right? The now Bobby Babbitt or McDermott can now kind of like, you know what? I got a bit of a pass rush, so maybe I can kind of call a different type of scheme. Maybe I've been holding off on calling this set of plays because I didn't have that interior pass rush that I needed. Ed Oliver being back allows me to gamble a little bit more. Maybe I do a few more things that I need to. So I'm looking very much forward to seeing the addition of Ed Oliver matches now with these guys. Now, is he going to be gassed, ready to go? Who knows? I mean, him being not in football shape, right? Him going to Denver, will that play a part? I'm just saying, suck on that oxygen, my G, and get in there, because I think that's going to be a huge difference for this Bills defense. What an addition. I'm sure McDermott has got to be like ready, like just happy as ever, knowing that he's got Ed Oliver back in there, and his defense is starting to catch fire. They're starting to get in their groove, right? They've elevated their level of play. So now you add in one of the better players on this defense, and he's back. Boy, that's a big boost to this defense, and I can't wait to see what it looks like on the field in Denver tomorrow afternoon. But I can't believe we're playing tomorrow.
I know.
I'm so used to like Sunday. I'm like, oh crap, that's tomorrow, bro. Golly. So we got to set the tone, man. The Bills got to set the tone for the rest of the weekend, and away we go. I can't wait. Woo, I can't wait. I'll tell you that much.
I hate the fact that it's the first game of the slate. I just hate it so much.
Set the tone, baby.
You got set the tone indeed. But like, man, it's just, and then you look at the, like, not to make, they're already pre-baking in excuses, but like, you go from playing on Sunday to playing on Saturday across the country in altitude against a team that's been off for 2 weeks.
Makes a difference.
Yeah, it does. I think there's something to be said, though, about the momentum that you do have from winning in the wild card round, though. I other than getting healthy, which is pivotal, I get that. I just don't know. There's not a huge advantage to me. Playing at home is the pivotal reason you want the 1 seed. I think that's an advantage. But in terms of the way you play, like, I think that there's something to be said about coming off of a win like the Bills just did going into this game, as opposed to sitting on your ass at home before this game. I really do think that there's something to that. You go to the college football playoff and it's like evident. There's only been one team that's gotten the bye that's won, and it's the Indiana Hoosiers, who are playing like the best college football I've seen in a decade here. So that's something to be, that's something to take note here. You got a guy going into his second ever playoff game, and he hasn't played in a couple of weeks. I don't know. Like, it's just, there's something to it, I think. Coming out fast and hot could be difficult in that situation.
This is why I'm glad you reminded me and wanted to talk about this. The number 1 seed. It's nice. It's nice to say we got the number 1 seed. We get to get healthy. But there's something about the number 1 seed that I remember not being a big fan of when teams did get it, right? Obviously, getting healthy and just preparing for the team that you're going to go against. But you're also sitting. You're also not getting to game action. You're going up against a team that's ready, that's hot, obviously banged up a little bit. But there's something about that the Broncos haven't played in a couple weeks now. I don't know how much that serves as an advantage to them, right? They're rested, yes, but you haven't been in game action. Yes, you're practicing. Yes, you're doing all those things. I mean, who was it, the team that we went against? It was the Patriots. The Patriots coming off a bye, and the Bills come in. They start slow, and they come up 21. Boom, we got it, right? So these teams coming off buys, I think with the Chiefs too. I think we faced 2 teams this year. Forgive me if I don't have this right. I think the Chiefs were one that came off a bye. We played them. We won. And then I think it was the Patriots coming off a bye, and then we came in and handled business. There's something, and that's another part that I'm looking at. I'm like, sitting for a couple weeks and coming in, I'm like, I kind of like it, because the week that I'm just going to take a quick look. When we had our bye, we went up, I think, or did we have the bye? I got to, forgive me if I'm not getting it right, but I'm going to try to jump on it now.
Just to add context, though,
yeah,
in the AFC, since the year 2000, let me just double check here.
Yep.
Only 5 teams have won the Super Bowl with the 1 seed. 3 of them were by Tom Brady. 1 of them was by Peyton Manning, and the other was by Patrick Mahomes. So you're looking at, since 2000, the vast majority of the 1 seed in the AFC has not won the Super Bowl. The vast majority. And those that have won are 3 first ballot Hall of Famers.
I'm with it. I just, there's something about that number 1 seed that I'm not a fan of. So the Kansas City Chiefs had a bye week after the Bills, and they went and played the Denver Broncos, lost that game 22-19. Lost that. Even after their bye week, they lost that game. So there's something about this bye week that I like it. I mean, the Bills, after our bye week, we came in and crushed the Carolina Panthers, right? So there's that part of it too. But we do well historically after a bye under McDermott. I think we're undefeated after a bye, actually. So there's something that I feel that the Bills may have a slight advantage a little bit in playing these games on a number 1 seed. So there's a lot of pressure. If you want to talk about pressure, there's pressure on this Denver Broncos team. Y'all had 2 weeks rest. Y'all are healthy. Y'all are good. Y'all should be able to come through and handle this business. So you better come through. But these red hot Bills, boy, when they come in the playoffs, there's something to mess with. So on the Bills side, we want to overcome this, because typically we get to these divisional stages and the AFC stages and we fall short. So this is where I'm hoping the cookie crumbles our way and we just have that path. And what I love about this path, that some people might say, well, we talked about this too, right? Well, he didn't have Pat to go through. He didn't have this to go through. I think this is probably going to be one of the tougher Super Bowl runs that the Bills will have to face because you're facing a top defense no matter where you look. You face the Jags. Now you got the Broncos. And chances are it could be the Texans because the Texans defense has been playing historical ball. If we get through the Broncos, you got to play the Texans. So they would have earned their way, hard body, to get to the Super Bowl. So you got to give these guys some credit on what they've been able to do. I don't give a damn what quarterback they're playing. We're playing that defense. And right now they've been playing some good ball, and we want to continue that. We've got a great opportunity tomorrow afternoon, 4 p.m. or 4:30 p.m., where we can handle business. I can't freaking wait, man. It is going to be crucial. So I'm cool now, but I won't be cool then.
On that topic too. So obviously since 2000, there've been 48 one seeds. Of the 48 teams that received the one seed since 2000, 13 of them made the Super Bowl. So you're talking just about 75% of the time, the one seed doesn't even reach the Super Bowl, much less win it. And I listed you off the teams that have won it. 3 times by Tom Brady, 1 time by these Denver Broncos, who had an all-world defense, and of course, one of the greatest ever in Peyton Manning. And then you had Mahomes in the middle of the dynasty. And then you go over to the NFC side of things. Drew Brees was the one who was able to snatch one of the NFC Super Bowls in that situation. The Legion of Boom, that was another one. And then probably the most incredible of them all was the Eagles in 2017, where Nick Foles somehow led them the distance, right?
Yeah.
But other than that, I mean, if you're looking at the one seed, I find it to be advantageous. Like in Buffalo's situation, I think the Bills playing in Buffalo as opposed to playing on the road is different for the vast majority of other teams, where I think the Bills have a substantial home advantage that maybe most other teams don't. There are only a few teams in the league that I think have a significant home field advantage. Buffalo, the Chiefs, Green Bay, Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
There's just a handful, I think, right? So I think that helps. And then when you're as banged up as Buffalo is, that, of course, helps as well. You wouldn't have had 2 more wide receivers go to IR if you didn't have to play last week, right? You wouldn't have had those injuries suffered by Gabe Davis and Tyrell Shavers. But beyond playing at home and sustaining the health, I think from a competitive standpoint and what you put out on the field, I know you'd rather not have to play an additional playoff game to get here, but now that you're here, I think the advantage swings to the team that just put together a hell of a performance last week and is trying to parlay that into yet another one compared to the team that wasn't playing.
Go ahead.
Yeah. No, I think it's pretty staggering that you're looking at 75% of the time the one seed does not even reach the Super Bowl. And now you're looking at this year's 2 one seeds. And if we're boiling it just out, these 2 teams are comparable in Seattle and Denver. Both teams are led by their defenses, and both teams have a quarterback that I don't think anybody would put money on to win a Super Bowl in Bo Nix and Sam Darnold. I think that's what it kind of comes down to. So, I think Seattle could easily make the Super Bowl. If it were up to me, that would be my bet, just because that defense is just disgusting. But it wouldn't shock me at all if there was neither one seed made it again this year, Rico.
This is why you love the NFL, man. This is why you love sports, man. And right now, I mean, I kind of alluded it to a week ago, where it's not out of the norm for these 5th and 6th seeds. I mean, I named like 4 teams in the last little bit that have won that Super Bowl. So, and they went on some good runs with a decent defense and some elite quarterbacks. Josh being one of them. This has the making of a run for these Bills, man. And what a run that would be. So I'm looking at this game as a pivotal game. And I'm going to ask you, man, when you're looking at keys to this game, what's one key to this game that's got you saying, man, if we can just focus on here and do this part or not do this, what is it that's given you that the Bills have an advantage here to win this game?
So there's one key to this game that I find has been a key to Buffalo's success on offense throughout the year. You've probably heard me talk about this a bunch, but once again, it finds itself to play a prominent role in this upcoming game. The Broncos defense, I mean, they're top of the line in just about everything, right? They're 2nd in yards per game allowed, 3rd in points per game allowed. They're the 2nd best 3rd down defense, the number 1 red zone defense, the number 2 defense in terms of completion percentage allowed to quarterbacks, the number 2 defense in yards per attempt to quarterbacks, and they're one of the only teams in the NFL that has held their opposing quarterbacks to below an 80 quarterback rating collectively. The defense is top of the line, right? The one thing that they do best, or one of the things that they do the best, is limiting wide receivers and their impact on the game. According to Next Gen Stats, the Broncos limit wide receivers to 6.6 yards per target. That's the second fewest in the entire league. But where the Bills find a benefit within this is that they're not beholden to getting the ball to the wide receivers. That's why last week was so interesting. It was one of the only games this year where the Bills went to the wide receivers often, and it wound up paying off. Brandon Cooks had a massive impact. Obviously, Khalil Shakir had a big impact. Keon Coleman had a big catch. Yep. But we haven't seen that throughout the year. What the Bills utilize the most are the areas that they have the most talent in, and that is the running back position and the tight end position. And this is where the Denver strength is going up against the Buffalo Bills strength. The strength of the Denver D going up the strength of the Bills offense. Get a load of this stat, because the Broncos, second fewest yards allowed per target to wide receivers. But on the Bills offensive side of things, when Josh Allen targets a running back or a tight end, it leads to 8.8 yards per target, Rico. That is second best in the league. Let me double check. I believe that's first in the league.
Okay.
Either way, it's right up there, right? So you're talking about the best in the league at getting the ball to your running backs and your tight ends, having that work out, right? But not only that, 8.8 yards per target, right at the top of the league, going to running backs and tight ends. But on those targets, Rico, 45.9% of the time when Josh Allen targets a tight end or a running back, it results in a first down. The second highest since 2016. Jeez. So the efficiency that the Bills display when targeting tight ends and running backs is as good as the league has seen in a decade. And what's so great about that is it's the exact opposite of where Denver wants to shut you down. If you are reliant on going to your wide receivers to win football games, well, you're going right into the teeth of this Denver defense. But when you're looking at Buffalo's side of things, that's not what they want to do. They want to get the ball to James Cook, and they want to get the ball to Dalton Kincaid and Dawson Knox. And when doing that, nobody's been better in the pass game than this version of the Buffalo Bills in 2025. So once again, much like many games throughout the year, and I think this is why these numbers look the way that they do, Rico, because how often have we said this year, the Bills want to win this football game, James Cook's got to have a monster outing, and the Bills need to incorporate their tight ends. We've said it time and time again. And usually when we've gone into games thinking that was a pivotal aspect, it's paid off. You go into the Bengals game, Hawes, touchdown, Knox, touchdown, Kincaid, touchdown. I said it going into the Jacksonville game. What do you know? Dalton Kincaid, massive touchdown to keep that game alive in the fourth quarter. They'd go on to win. Looking at this game once again, Rico, one of the matchups I find to be pivotal, getting James Cook involved in the pass game, and then when going downfield, Dalton Kincaid and Dawson Knox. I want to see more out of Dalton Kincaid in this game, too. He was almost non-existent last week until he caught that touchdown pass. Yep. Want to see more out of Dalton Kincaid in this game because I find that every time they try and incorporate him or emphasize incorporating him, the offense has success as a result.
That's a big portion of it because, I mean, we've seen him active the last couple of weeks, but like we haven't seen the true potential of Dalton. I think he's holding back or he can't go 100% because he's really banged up, but he's just gutting it out. So that's probably why you didn't see a whole lot of him. So we want to see a whole lot of him in this game coming up. For me, keys to this game, man, I think it's as simple as this gets. And I don't want to overcomplicate things. I'm bigger than you. I'm going to push you around. I was asking my girl, Laura, in my show the other day, I asked her, and I asked the chat, does size matter? Z-Bot, does size matter?
Not in this household.
Right. It's a fair question, right? And so, some folks will say, yes, size absolutely matters. Some say, hey, no, size doesn't matter because you can move around and do certain things. And my girl, El Boogie, was like, cut the BS, size matters. And I fully agree with my girl, El Boogie. Size matters. The size of the O-line going up against the size of the defensive line of the Broncos will matter. Last year, it mattered. It should matter this time again. James Cook ran for 120 yards last year against the Broncos. The Bills outplayed them. They outran them. They out-physicaled them, and that's what they did. Why is anything going to change this time? I get it. Dre Greenlaw is a big deal, right? He's been an addition to this team, and he's a downhill linebacker. What do I know about it? I don't know. We're going to find out in the game, right? And you have, I believe, Tafunga. Tafunga is a downhill in the box type safety, almost like a bootleg Timu version of Troy Polamalu, but he does good stuff. So they're going to do everything they can to stop the run game. But if I'm bigger than you, there's not a whole lot you can do. You better hope that you can get around a lot of the things that we're going to do, but we're going to run it up your throat all the way down the field. And by the time that we do that, it's going to tenderize you, right? Some of you guys might know what I'm talking about. We're going to make sure that there's a lot of tendernism going on in the middle of that defense. And once they kind of tighten up a little bit, Josh will then have his I don't want to say a field day, but he'll be able to pick his moments and do what he does. But the run game is the key to this game. If the Broncos do what the Jags did and was pop us in the mouth before we can even get going, because the Jaguars did a fantastic job at that, we're going to be in trouble. But I don't think it's going to happen. That's a different ball game. Their defense is predicated on teams being down, and they can't pass the ball, so they got to try to run the football. But that's what we do. We do that best, and we're going to get back on track. So that's where our advantage is, pushing these guys all over the place and allowing now defense to tighten up, and now you get your Khalils back there. Now you get your Brandon Cooks right in those intermediate spots. I don't need to go one-on-one all day long with Pat Surtain. I don't need that. I just need to make sure that I'm catching that ball in front of you. If I'm getting 8-9 yards, I'm doing my job, right? Now I'm leaving my quarterback with a 2nd and 1. And you already saw what happened to the Jaguars. 2nd and 1 turned to second, and I'm driving you down the field, and I got my man with the cipher holding up Josh Allen and running into the end zone. Size matters, and you're going to see a lot of that in Denver with these Bills, and I'm hoping that that's the way it goes. And then you can sprinkle in your Keon Coleman's, and then you can sprinkle in your Curtis Samuels. And boy, do we need something for, is it Young Tenda? You know what I'm talking about. So I just need to soften that defense up with the run game. And James Cook has got to be chomping at the bit because they bottled that brother up real good last week. He can't be bottled up again. So this is where the offensive line takes over. So that's one of the big keys to this game, is to continue to get that big old ugly line, those big uglies, to push that line and penetrate and get that run game going. That's what I'm looking forward to. That's one of the big keys on offense. If you're going to the defensive side of the ball, what do you need to see from the defense unless you're looking elsewhere?
Well, I want to comment once more on that run game, because James Cook was bottled up last week, but he was the complete opposite of bottled up against these Denver Broncos in the wild card round last year. Now, I know the Broncos add Dre Greenlaw, Hufanga on the back end.
Yep.
You know, I think Greenlaw adds a presence in the run game here. Maybe it's not the same. I know last year isn't this year. But James Cook in the wild card round a season ago against the Denver Broncos had 23 carries for $120 and a touchdown, averaging over 5 yards per carry. The Bills ran the ball against Denver a season ago 44 times for 210 yards. 44 attempts, Rico, for a hair shy of 5 yards an attempt. So is Dre Greenlaw really that big of an addition to where you are going to eliminate the Bills' ability to run the football in some capacity? Or are you going to be able to shut them down the way Jacksonville just did? I don't think so. That was the emphasis last year. And what did that do? It opened up Josh Allen to have a field day. I mean, in that game, Josh Allen was 20 of 26 with a quarterback rating of 135, or a passer rating of 135. So you're looking at what the run game allowed them to do. Josh Allen also ran for a ton of yards on them when you're looking at yards per carry. Josh Allen went for nearly 6 yards per carry a season ago against Denver, 8 carries for 46 yards. So once again, I know last year isn't this year, but the emphasis for the Bills offense against Denver a season ago was to pound the rock. They ran it almost 50 times in over 200 yards. I know this Denver defense is one of the best in the league in a variety of different categories, and I know they've added some significant personnel to that side of the ball, but I just don't think you're going to be able to shut down the run game the way Jacksonville just did. and I think you're nailing it. I think the run game will be a far more pivotal aspect of Buffalo's offense in this game as opposed to the wild card round.
Do you buy it with this whole one score game business, right? And I know that that's been a big deal. That the Broncos have won like, I don't know, like it's like 6 to 7 one score games, and they're pretty much the Kansas City Chiefs of the year before, where one of these one score games are winning it, and then this year those one score games were no longer one score games. They were losing these games.
Sure.
Do you feel like that's a factor? Do you think that's a big deal, or is that a flaw where, bro, they're not that nice? Although they got their W's, but they struggle to get their W's. Or are you looking at it, yo, I don't care how they got it. They won the game, and that's all that matters. But there's context to it. You won these games, but it wasn't like you won it. You won these games heavily. You won them coming back from being down or not closing teams out. So what are your thoughts on these one-score games? Does it matter to you? Or are you looking at, hey, man, their record is their record. We got to play them. Or are you looking at the context of these wins?
Well, it doesn't matter in this game because this is how both these teams play. I mean, this is the end of the Bills season, or this is the Bills season up until this point. If we go back to the first game played in December, one score game against Cincinnati, one score game against New England, one score game against Cleveland, one score game against the Eagles. You don't count the Jets game, one score game against the Jaguars. So in all games in which the Buffalo Bills started, their last 5 games have all been one score. And the Buffalo Bills won all but one. The Philadelphia Eagles game where, of course, Josh Allen misses a wide-open 2-point conversion. The Bills are a wide-open 2-point conversion away from winning 5 consecutive one-score games with their starters out on the field. Now, Denver's been making a habit of this all year. Give them credit. Much like the Bills, this Denver team has made a living coming back late in the game. That Giants game earlier in the year was unbelievable. How many points did they score in the fourth quarter? The Denver Broncos scored 33 points in the fourth quarter. They were trailing in that game. Dude, this is unbelievable. They went into the fourth quarter with 0 points and beat the Giants 33-32. They've made a living this year coming back in these crazy one-score second-half late games, but this is exactly what the Buffalo Bills have done. They started the year doing that against the Baltimore Ravens. They just did it last week, trailing at the 2-minute warning, come back to win, right? They've done it all year long. The interesting thing about the Broncos, though, they're playing tight games against the cream of the crop like the Houston Texans and the Kansas City Chiefs. They're also playing nail biters against the Commanders, the Raiders twice, the Jets. So it's weird where, like, they are in a habit of playing that style against everybody. Now, you can make the argument that the Bills did the same against Cleveland, but I don't know. That just, the Cleveland defense is elite. And for some reason, that game felt like they were just trying to avoid Myles Garrett getting the record. It really felt like that way to me. It was almost like they were playing to not get sacked by him, which I didn't like. The Bills did not play very well in that football game. Now, I know Denver's D poses a very similar threat to that of Cleveland's, but all year long, whether they've played the Jets or it's the Houston Texans, it's been very, very close one-score games for these Broncos, and give them credit. They've come out on top in the vast majority of them. You mentioned the Kansas City Chiefs last year. You know, the chickens come home to roost at some point. When you live and die on that type of football, it's like gambling. Like if you are playing roulette and the wheel's hot, I mean, Reds hit 10 times in a row. It just eventually there's going to be that streak of black, right? You can't live on just winning that style nonstop. The Chiefs had a complete correction back to the mean this year where they couldn't win a game that was a one-score game, where last year they couldn't lose one, right? Now, in this particular game, because both teams play this style so frequently, I think the one thing it tells you is that it's awfully likely that that's exactly what's going to happen. It's going to come down to that. And then once again, I remind you, what quarterback are you taking in that situation? Are you taking the quarterback that is the reigning MVP and is on his 6th consecutive playoff streak here of winning at least one game prior? Or are you taking the guy in his second ever playoff start? And I think that's why once again, the quarterback situation in this game matters so much. But when we're talking about just the one-score aspect of this, Rico, I don't think there's an advantage on either side because this is how both these teams have played all year long.
I'm looking at the Broncos defense. more specifically their run defense. Actually, I'll look at both their pass defense and their run defense. So I was looking at what they did last year, because a lot of the same roster, someone's coming back, except for a few tweaks in here. We mentioned both defenders that are on the new defenders that are on the Broncos now in Greenlaw and I think it's Tafunga. I think his last name is. But anyway, last year defending the run in 2024. 1,600 yards given up, 3.9 yards a pop, and they were giving up 96 yards a game, and they gave up 10 touchdowns. That was in 2024. This year, I was like, did they improve that much with those two players? Because you had me thinking, okay, those two players, how much more did they really improve? Well, same run defense. They're less than 100, less than 500 yards difference in terms of rush defense. They're allowing the same amount of yards, 3.9 yards a pop. They're allowing 91 yards per game rather than the 95. So they got 4 yards better, and they allowed one rush touchdown more. It hasn't changed. It's the same. So we're, like I said, size matters, and we're going to push these boys along, and we're going to do everything we can to do these. Now, that pass defense, that's so great, right? 2025, this season, they've had a great year, right? So we're looking at one of the top defenses in the game, 6 yards a pop. They're allowing defenders, they're keeping defenders at 6 yards a pop and 187 yards a game. They've only allowed 18 passing touchdowns this year, and that defense, 10 interceptions. So I'm looking at what they did last year. Just little things like this kind of get me going like, okay, so are they trying to gaslight us to think that this defense is out of this world? Really? Well, let's really talk about it. 6.8 yards a pop. So they were a little worse than last year. Instead of 6.8 yards a pop given up to opposing quarterbacks. They were allowing 220 yards per game. They're down to 187. So a vast improvement there, but not much more difference in terms of touchdowns and not much more difference in interceptions. So they had 5 more interceptions last year as opposed to this year. So I think a lot of that is really inflated with some of the matchups that you mentioned, some of these close matchups, bro. I'm not buying it. I guess what I'm coming to is I'm not buying all this Broncos hype. They're a good team. They earned their number one, but when you really dive deep, there's a bit of those tree trunks that you sit there and be like, looks like a sturdy tree trunk. You kind of brush it and it starts coming apart. I think it's going to be one of those things, man. We're going to brush all over these boys and run the football and just show tough Buffalo football. And you know what? We're back to the cold. That's what we do. That's another thing too, man. We deal with the cold climates. We're back to the cold, grimy, grind out football. Let's go. That's what we do, right? Got to give one more credit to Brady. Brady is a balanced coordinator. We're not gonna get out of pocket and all of a sudden start airing the football out. We're not gonna get out of character. We're still gonna pound that rock and keep you guys still wondering, because James Cook is that dangerous. That one little slip, he gone. So we're gonna talk about that. So I'm looking forward to seeing how that all shakes out at the end, and we'll go from there. I want to kind of switch up the topics here a little bit.
Yeah, real quick, I just want to add to that because I think it's a good point you're making. Last week, the Jacksonville Jaguars led the league in interceptions, and that didn't make a difference. And
not a bit.
There's one topic that we were speaking on last year going into this same matchup, and that was the Denver Broncos defense against the Buffalo Bills offense in the wild card round. Bills won 31-7. I'm looking back on an article on the Denver Broncos website from January of last year going into the wild card game. And it reads that the Denver Broncos led the league in sacks. On top of that, the Denver Broncos were one of the best defenses against playoff teams a season ago. When going up against playoff teams, this was the argument being made to lean on Denver's defense having a solid outing against the Buffalo Bills offense, right? So let me just make sure I get this correct here. Denver's defense allowed the fewest yards per game and posted the most sacks per game against playoff teams in 2024. And the unit ranked second in scoring defense against postseason teams. So going into the game last year, I know we've talked about the additions that the Denver Broncos have made. But once again, going into last year, the Denver Broncos defense was the story. They were one of the best defenses in the league going up against the best teams and the best offenses in the league with the top sack number to match that. And you saw what the Bills offense was able to do. Once again, that's the story going into this game, Rico. The question is now, will the Bills be able to do what they were able to do last year?
And I think they'll be right back on track. And let's not forget, I think most Bills fans are thinking this. I don't think it's necessarily about what this Broncos offense is going to do to the Bills, because there's not this juggernaut offense. I know they have a very good offensive coordinator in Peyton, but it's not a juggernaut offense. It's not like who's running the football? RJ Harvey, fine running back, but he's not Derrick Henry. He's not LaDainian Tomlinson. Like, he's not them. He's not one of them ones. All right, that's number one. It's really about this offense versus that defense. And if we do what we're supposed to do defensively and hold them in check, we should have this game in check early. And I don't say we should be waxing them early, but there should be a tempo that kind of gives you know how there's when you're watching a game and you're seeing it and the score may be close, but one team looks like they're dominating more than the other. I want it to look like that, where the team that is the best team they're just taking their time before they really figure things out. These teams both, like you said earlier, you alluded to it, they adjust well in the second half. This is going to be the who can do more in the first and not have to make crazy adjustments in the second to hold on to it. Do not let Bo Nix get this comeback situation going. Handle these guys in check, and we should be good to go.
Only two running backs, by the way, went for over 100 yards on Denver this year, but one of them is the most similar to James Cook of the bunch that they played, and that's Jonathan Taylor. And he had 165 yards on him earlier in the season. The only other one, believe it or not, was I think it was Cam Scadaboo.
Scadaboo?
Yeah, if I'm not mistaken. So they've done a real solid job at keeping running backs. Yep. Yeah, but Jonathan Taylor, I think if you're talking about or excuse me, it wasn't Cam Scadaboo. Who was it? Their other running back there. Whatever. Regardless, I think the one running back you would look at.
Stacy.
Yeah. Of the groups of the running backs in which they played, I think the most comparable to Cook would be Jonathan Taylor, and he went off. But that to me is such a pivotal aspect, and we'll know early on whether or not the Bills are going to be able to run it or not. I think you could tell last week, right off the bat, like it wasn't gonna be an easy outing. Like you can usually tell early what it's going to look like.
I was looking at this pretty cool stat. They were looking at highest quarterback ratings under pressure. And they're looking at the last 10 postseasons. In 2021, Matthew Stafford, and he had a 137.5 passer rating under pressure. The opponent was the Tampa Bay Bucks. Pat Mahomes in 2021 versus the Buffalo Bills, 129.5. Pat Mahomes again against the Cincinnati Bengals, 114.6. These are the last 10 postseasons, by the way. Josh Allen, he faced a tremendous amount of pressure against the Jacksonville Jaguars, had a 114.6 going under pressure. Bro, this guy, it's got to happen. The amount of sacks that these guys generate and pressure these guys generate, it's like he revels in that pressure. So pressure against the Jacksonville Jaguars, I live in the pressure. So this is going to be him against the Denver Broncos. It's not like I faced a cakewalk of a team and I don't know what I'm going to be facing. You just faced it. So now you're already on that track to understand what to take on these Broncos. So man, listen, man, all this chat we're doing.
Like to your point there, if you want to talk about passer rating, that's a really good way to demonstrate the gap between these two quarterbacks going into this game. Because out of 25 qualified passers based on passer rating, Bo Nix finished the season 21st. Bo Nix had 3 games this season with 100+ rate. Josh Allen had 10. So if you're just looking at the passer rating alone from this season, it's one of the good ways to indicate the difference between the level of play at the most important position going into this one.
Oh, man, there's no question. By the way, Josh Allen's career, passer rating in regular season, 94.4. Passer rating in the playoffs, by the way, 1024. The guy goes up almost 10 ticks. Okay.
Crazy.
Completion percentage goes from 64 in the regular season to 66.7 in playoffs. TD percentage, 5.4 in the regular season, 5.3 in playoffs. Interception percentage, this is the big one, 2.3% in the regular season, 0.8 in the playoffs. 272 yards total yards to 309 total yards in the playoffs. Dude, this guy, he just turns it up a notch. So that's exactly what I'm looking forward to. The Broncos. And I mean, there's underlying stories too. Hey, your GM had an opportunity, I think we alluded to that, to draft me. And you didn't. So this is my opportunity.
I think he said it was his biggest regret ever. John Elway said that.
He still talks about that. Can you imagine your Bo Nix? and you're sitting there going, but I'm right here. I'm right here, coach. Shut your ass up. That's the guy I wanted. Make sure you make me look good. And right now, Josh has got to go in there and handle business. You got my girl wearing a Broncos jersey. You trying to punk me? And now you got the GM is talking about he regrets not drafting me, bro. I got to make you feel it. So I'm hoping that Josh comes through like he normally does. Playoff Josh comes in. The proof is in the pudding. You saw the uptick in his performance. Looking forward to that.
The pudding too, by the way. Trey Wingo just tweeted this out earlier today. We've talked about Josh Allen not turning it over the last 6 games.
Yep.
He's the only quarterback in playoff history to not turn the ball over in 6 straight postseason starts. 16 touchdown to 0 turnover rate, or 16 touchdown to 0 turnover ratio in that span. Unbelievable.
I hate those. That's like a jinx.
People were saying that last week going into the Jags game. You know, like I knocked on wood all week. I've been doing it all week here too, because I hear you.
By the way, Josh Allen in the playoffs, 6-1 in the wildcard road. We talked about that earlier. On other games on the road, 2-5. Mm-hmm. Wild card, he's on the money. 2-5 on the road when it comes to other games, other rounds. So something to pay attention to. So I'm hoping that we can disguise that. But the games on the road when it's not, obviously when he's on the road, he's 2-5, 233 yards a game, as opposed to in the wild card 285. His interception to touchdown 10-2 on the road when he's 2-5, 16-2 in the wild card. So there's a dramatic drop when he's on the road, divisional / AFC championship game. So wild card, pressure's on. I think he gets it. He knows what he's supposed to do. This is where we need the whole squad to come through, but Josh got to lead the way. So little tidbits here and there. It's always fun to kind of bring them up. So we understand. I mean, I think we all understand the pressures of the game. Speaking of the pressures of the game, I need to ask you this because I'm passionate about this. I wholeheartedly, absolutely hate postseason coaching interviews. I hate it. I don't like it. The NFL should absolutely ban all these interviews that are happening with guys that are already on teams. I want my guy to focus on the task at hand, which is the Denver Broncos. I don't want Joe Brady having his mind on trying to get a head coaching gig elsewhere. When it's time for him to get his gig, he will get it. But right now, I need him to focus. I need him to cut the BS, and not just Joe Brady, but all coaches. Bro, every last one of them should take a stand and be like, no, I'm doing something. Let me wait until the playoffs are done, or until I'm eliminated, or until I win the damn thing, and then we can talk. Or better yet, NFL, freeze all coaching hires until the last snap of the Super Bowl. Open them up. Do like free agency. Have some what do we call it? What's that term that they do in free agency where they can
legal tampering?
A little bit of tampering, somewhat tampering. Don't go full-fledged interviews and getting these guys preparing, because every interview that you go into, you got to prepare. You're probably up for a couple nights trying to say, okay, this is what I'm going to say, this is what I'm going to do, while you should be in your book and in your playbook in the film room doing the things you're supposed to do, not trying to prepare for interviewing. I'm all for these new coaches and position coaches getting their gigs. But once the playoffs are on, I ain't trying to hear nothing about it. Sit your behind down and wait it out like everybody. And it's like coaching free agency. Do it that way. We all revel in the free agency of players. And then once that first day of free agency kicks off, we're watching who's going where. Chill out. Having Harbaugh already, I mean, he's eliminated, but wait it out. Wait it out until it's all done, because who knows? There could be a dark horse that comes out there and you ask for an interview for Mike McDaniel, and Mike McDaniel ends up being the right guy for the Giants job and not Harbaugh. I just think it's poor. It's in poor taste. Knock it off with these interviews in the playoffs. I can't stress that enough. It's just a bad, poor taste. Let the playoffs play out. Once the season's done, go crazy, go ham. But until then, coaches should be focused on their task at hand, and that's winning for their football team. What are your thoughts?
No notes. I mean, I'll just hit the double tap, emphasize on everything you just said there. It's ridiculous, and it's also a very prominent problem in college football. I mean, the fact that Lane Kiffin was allowed to just up and leave before the college football playoff and take that LSU job. Terrible. The fact that these guys can enter the portal when they can, it's ridiculous. There needs to be a massive overhaul in the way that that's done. You work all year long to get to this point. And like you mentioned, like the NFL is so buttoned up in the way that they do things. There's a set period of time for tampering, for free agency, the draft, obviously. There's all these set blocks of time. But then when you get to this point of the year, it's a free-for-all in trying to hire a head coach. And now when you enter a year like now, where you have 9 openings or whatever it is and counting, there's so many opportunities that means there's far more interviews being conducted. So you're interviewing guys maybe that wouldn't even be interviewed in a different year where there's a far less amount of openings. So I find it to be ridiculous. It's absolutely stupid, and you're dead on. You should be allowed, the day after the Super Bowl concludes should be the opening window of when you are allowed to hire a new head coach.
And the NFL is all about ratings. It's all about, you know what I'm saying, having to try to, having a Monday Night Football game of the Texans and Pittsburgh Steelers, giving other teams less time to prepare, horseshit. But they do it so they can get ratings. So how many, you're going to get ratings, man. Coaching carousel all over the place. Who's going where? Who's got the openings? Bro, that would be the best thing for the NFL. But these boys want to just do this nonsense that goes down now. Bro, Super Bowl is Super Bowl time. Let that happen and let it go. So
that's such a great point, by the way, because the day after the Super Bowl is so depressing because the season's over. What better way to bring people right back in than having that be the day that the coaching window opens and you're getting a ton of crazy news like you do during free agency? It's a great idea.
It's the best idea. I just can't, like, look, picture that you were the freaking Arizona Cardinals and you're like, man, could we get Mike McDaniel? Like, yo, dude, that'd be crazy. Put Mike McDaniel with whoever is going to be the quarterback for the team. That's a whole nother mess, by the way, the Arizona Cardinals. But anyway, get Mike McDaniel up here, and then we can try to get this guy and maybe Flores. Oh, man, okay, we got to wait till the Super Bowl is over. I'm going to watch Super Bowl. Bro, it's right there. It's right there for you. These guys are talking about, let's go play some touch football. Boy, knock it off.
Totally agree.
Cut it all the way out. That's the way I'm looking at it. Got some more for you.
Yeah.
How do you feel about this Harbaugh going to the Giants?
Man, I just still can't get over the fact that both he and Mike Tomlin are gone. Both were the longest tenured coaches in the league. Both were essentially coaching those two teams since I was in elementary school. Now within the span of 1 week, they're both not coaching the Ravens and the Steelers. That is wild. Now, Harbaugh going to the Giants, I love it for the Giants because they're not in this position to be hiring a coach to try and win now and make a Super Bowl run. They're in position for trying to find stability. Yeah. That's a team that has been beyond erratic since the retirement of Eli Manning, and they've been a bottom feeder since that time as well. They have been irrelevant in the city or in the country's biggest market, and they have really been borderline non-competitive over that time. They're not looking for a guy to come in and be the guru that propels them to the NFC Championship or beyond. They're looking for the guy that is going to bring stability to the organization, build a culture, and really flip the script on what that team has been over the last decade and a half or so. And I feel like there's no better person to do that than a guy who was one of the best coaches over the last 20 years and who coached some of the better teams over that period and really was considered to be a guy that was the foundation, right? I think when you look at John Harbaugh, it was beyond the X's and O's. He was more of a guy that felt like he was the nucleus of the team and a guy that the entire league had respect for. The Giants need that guy. They don't need this young, witty, up-and-coming offensive savant. They don't need this defensive guru that has no experience in coaching a team at the head coach position or building a culture. They need exactly what they got. And for John Harbaugh on this side of things, I loved when I saw his list of demands, because if I were him, I would have done the same thing. He could have retired the day after the Ravens let him go, and he would have had an incredible career. I mean, like, seriously, you look at Pete Carroll's situation, he would have been better off retiring than going back and joining the Las Vegas Raiders. John Harbaugh is 63. Most people in this country retired 2 years after that at 65. He could have hung it up with a Super Bowl title and a couple of great teams throughout his run, and a couple of, really, really solid season, or more than a couple of solid seasons. Really, the Ravens have been one of the more respectable organizations in my entire life. They've been competitive my entire life, and John Harbaugh has been the coach of that team essentially my entire life. So when I saw his list of demands, I loved it because it told me two things if I were him.
You loved it?
Yeah, because you either meet those demands or I'll just retire. I'm not 46 years old with 20 plus years of coaching still left under my belt. I'm 63 with a pretty damn solid resume to hang my hat on and go off into the sunset. They're reportedly paying him $100 million. Good for him. You're staying on the East Coast, not that far of a move from Baltimore. There's really not a whole lot of expectation. Think about the amount of expectation that was levied upon him every single year coaching Lamar Jackson and that team. I mean, think about the pressure he went into every season with. We deal with it here in Buffalo. Think of what McDermott deals with every single season being the coach of Josh Allen and being in that window. You're now going to a Giants organization where, Rico, if they win 8 games, like, they'll have a parade for the guy.
Good
That's
Lord.
where they're at. So I think it's a win-win here for both sides. It would take a lot for me to want to take that Giants job, especially when all the other jobs were open, because let's be honest, Harbaugh probably could have had his pick of the litter, or at least could have narrowed it down to several other teams with as many openings as there are. I feel like he looked at that and said, 100 mil, not that far of a move, not a lot of pressure. Sign me up. Plus, give the Giants credit. They got a pretty solid foundation. I like Dart a lot. I like Scatterbo. Malik Neighbors will be back.
Sure.
And they've always had a pretty solid defense. I think that there's something to build there. It's more impressive to me than what the Jets got going on, what the Browns got going on, what the Titans got going on. I think it's a better job overall.
Here's what's funny to me. I'm so glad you brought that part up. I like Jackson Dart. I like Cam Scatterbo. They got Malik Neighbors. You just left Derrick Henry. You had Lamar Jackson.
He didn't leave him. He got shown the door on the phone.
You had the squad. You had the squad, and multiple times you couldn't get it done. But now we're supposed to get jacked up and excited because you're not the only one that said it. Everybody's so excited. Oh, he's gonna get Jackson Dart, Cam Scatterbo, bro.
Yeah, but you know what? I mean, Lamar Jackson's dodging a real massive bullet here, in my opinion. I mean, seriously, I really do feel like he is being. I feel like he's getting let off the hook pretty sizably here. I mean, can we just go back to last year alone?
All right.
Last year alone against the Bills, the turnovers in that game. I mean, is it, and it's not just Lamar Jackson, it's the team itself. Like, is it John Harbaugh's fault that Lamar Jackson threw one of the worst picks I've seen early in that game and then just flat out dropped the ball in scoring territory and Von Miller picks it up? Is it Harbaugh's fault that Mark Andrews fumbles and then drops the easiest catch of his entire career in the end zone? So, like, like a lot of these, you go back to these losses that they've suffered the last 4 or 5 years. Like, I have a really tough time pinning a lot of, exactly.
Fumbles,
exactly. I go back to when Lamar was hurt and they had Snoop Huntley in the wild card round against the Bengals, and he goes to jump over the pylon on a QB sneak, and they punch the ball out and take it 99 yards for a touchdown and won the game. Tyler Loop just missed the field goal that would have put him in the playoffs. Like, I'll just say this. The Ravens are not only going to have to hit a home run, they're going to have to hit a grand slam for this to look good on their side of things. Like, I really don't think, you know how much more difficult it is to go into this hiring process filling that type of shoe?
Oh, yeah.
Like, the Steelers are in the same boat, but the difference is the Steelers situation, it kind of seemed like Tomlin kind of was the one that initiated it and walked. That wasn't the case in Baltimore.
I just think it's fascinating. I mean, I hope he does really well where he's at. I'm just like, Bro, I'm not trying to get excited about no damn Cam Scatterbo and all these boys when you had it.
Well, you'll get excited. You'll get excited about 100 M's, Rico. That's what you'll get excited about.
You ain't lying about that. You ain't lying about that.
Yeah.
Here's the thing. Here could be. I'm reading. I don't want to say I'm hearing, but Dable to the Eagles would be something. Could you imagine Dable with the Eagles with guys he's already coached? Right?
You're talking about?
What's that, buddy?
For OC, you're talking about?
For absolute OC. That would be something, man. Because like think about it. And I saw this. I can't take credit for this guy. I saw this guy talking about it on Instagram, and it was fascinating to me. Dable gets back his boy Saquon Barkley.
Mm-hmm.
Dable gets back to coaching Devontae Smith when he was back at Alabama. He was on that roster. I think he was a freshman that year. He gets back to coaching Mr. Rico Suave himself and Jalen Hurts. Bro, you get that Eagles will be right back on track. You put Dable and they don't move A.J. Brown because it doesn't seem like they're moving A.J. Brown anytime soon. You don't get rid of special players. Howie Roseman gets it. Unless it's just talk for, hey, if you want them, you're going to have to pay up. Who knows? But I look at that. I'm looking at all these coaching possibilities. I'm like, man, that is going to be something. So interesting to say the least. And we were talking about like Giants, and then I started thinking about Eagles. But this whole coaching, putting a button in this whole thing, it becomes very interesting and fascinating. But Harbaugh, $100 million, how do you say no? Big market, but you better win. You go to a big market like that, you better win. Because New Yorkers or New Jersey folks, they don't play around, man. They want a winning squad. They haven't had a winning squad in a long time, but they want a winning squad. They got to get that. So
yeah, that's the thing. They can want whatever they want, but it has been so bad in East Rutherford on both sides of the stadium that they'll get what they get. They will get what they get at this point.
You'll get what you get.
That's why I just said, like, if you win 8 games, like you win 8 games in Baltimore, you get fired. You win 8 games in New York, and they're building a statue. So you're in a far better spot right now. I mean, the relief alone has got to feel so nice.
Oh, it's great.
It's got to feel so nice showing up to the facility saying, if I just go 500 or better, they'll literally kiss my feet.
This guy.
It's got to feel pretty good.
Oh, it's damn good. I'm not gonna lie to you on that one. Shall we get into the super chats, my good man?
Sure, we will. We sure will. We sure should.
Let's jump into it. By the way, give a big shout out to Clifton Johnson. Let me get my bell out.
Could be our first Chief Bing Squad member. Wow, that's something else, man.
Listen, that is absolute. That's respect. Big time respect to Clifton. Time. And Clifton, I mean, listen, anybody can do something like this, that tells you they love the type of content. They love the conversations that we're having. And I mean, once this season's over and once these, I got to put it out there, once these Bills win the Super Bowl, it doesn't stop, baby. These Friday shows will continue and we talk about everything. So listen, Clifton, welcome to the squad, baby. Welcome to
Cliff's
the squad.
been showing love for a minute, so appreciate you, brother.
No doubt about it. My man, oh yeah, you already read that one. So let's go to our guy, Richie. Richie. Broncos fans done messed up the moment they put Haley on socials in Broncos and Seahawks jersey. I don't care, players. Allen, see that. 17 sack about the take. A nice stroll in and out of Denver with a beautiful 31-13 win. Richie Fresh.
He's giving him 6 more points than last year. Richie's getting soft on us.
Listen, Richie, I like it. Richie's been on that, man. Yo, SB59, here we come. SB60, here we come. I love it. Richie, our guy. We love it. Let's get to another guy.
Money Mitch.
Money Mitch in the building. What's Money Mitch saying?
Money Mitch is saying, I hate that I feel this way, but I don't think this game is gonna be close. I think the Bills are just better than the Broncos. Great O-line, best quarterback, rushing leader, and great pass defense. Go Bills, and hashtag BF is the best. Money Mitch ain't worried, Rico.
He's feeling good. I mean, I think we're all in that position of the jitters are gone. You know, we got the proverbial punch in the mouth, and now we've settled down. And now we're like, all right, let's just get to what we do best. Let's run the football. Stress is down. The stress is down. But the stress is going to go right back up once that whistle blows.
I mean, this will give you the best indication as to how much of a mess I am. When I'm feeling good like this is when I'm starting to feel bad. Why am I feeling good? This is what I struggle with. I almost want to feel bad about it like I did last week. Why am I feeling good? Because if I'm feeling good, that means what am I missing here? Like when I'm feeling like this, I get terrified. I'm more terrified that I feel good than I am that I felt bad last week.
Right.
Like that's what's so messed up about it. Why do I feel good about this?
Why do you feel good? Give me one reason you feel good. Why do you feel good?
I feel good because I just felt that the Jags were the better overall team compared to the Denver Broncos.
Okay.
I'm not saying that. I mean, they met in Denver a couple of weeks ago, and the Jags blew the doors off of them. I'm not saying that that's an indication of what the Bills will do. Yeah, I know, me too. But I just thought when we're looking at how well-rounded the Jags were and how great they were playing going into it, and I thought that the run D taking away the run game, I was nervous about the Bills being able to win a game solely on the arm, or solely not on the arm of Josh Allen. I trust Josh Allen, but it was the pass game itself and what it's been this year. When I look at Denver, yes, I'm getting a great D I got to go against, but I was also having to go up against a great D last week. The difference is I find that the offense of Jacksonville posed a deeper threat than Denver's. And I think that's why I feel a little bit different. And, the other thing here too is I had finally thought that we were getting a version of Trevor Lawrence from Liam Cohen that was ascending towards the top based on how he's been playing in the back half of the year.
Yep.
So I was kind of wondering what we were going to get. What version of Lawrence were we going to get? And we saw what McDermott brought out of him. I look here, and once again, I know last year isn't this year, but McDermott had Bo Nix in a blender last year. I mean, he really did. Bo Nix was 13-22, Rico, for $144 a season ago. And on that $144, Rico, on that $144,
yep.
What, 65 yards of it came on the opening series on that bomb?
Yeah.
For a touchdown?
Yeah. Good memory. Because I remember, I was like, what the hell? What the hell's going on?
So once again, like, it's not an indication of what'll happen this year, but I do think that the Bills are facing a tier lower in offense this week than they were last weekend. But they are facing a tier up in defense, so we'll see if that offsets.
I'm with it. Jacob, our guy Jacob comes in and says, if Buffalo can score on a Texas and Jacksonville defense, we will most definitely score on these Broncos. These Broncos defensive line is featherweight, making gaps for Cook to expose. And that's the one that I'm standing out to. I think that's the key element in this game. And I'm not going to get off of it. That's where it's going to be. And it'll open up the rest of the game. And it's just going to be a game of chess. But like once you have power, and it's not like we have power and a bunch of slow pieces of Dion is athletic. Dion can move. You have a 6'8", 310-pound, 315-pound right tackle. He can move. It's not like we have a whole bunch of slow guys. Bro, we got some boys that can move on that line. So I'll take that line over Nick Benito's 14 sacks and Franklin Myers' 8 sacks and Jonathan Cooper's 8 sacks. I love it. Great job. You faced the Raiders twice. You faced the Chiefs twice. I can't believe I just said that in the same sentence, right? You faced a lot of these teams that were not that very good. And you loaded up on these boys. And you're supposed to. You're going up against an elite quarterback now. You're going up against a team that has been here before. And quite frankly, this is a team that's kind of pissed off, man. Yo, we got to get it done. Yo, enough is enough, man. These 6-1 going to 6-1 in the wild card is great. I need more. We need more. So we got to make sure we get this done. So Jacob, we're with you. I'm with you. Let's get this thing going, man. Seasoned Beast, my guy. He says, Z-Bot, gotta know if Zoe Jane was a stained reference. Excuse me.
Yeah.
I was like, what?
Yo, Seasoned Beast, this blew my mind. I could not believe this when I discovered it. And I don't know if it was you that commented. The only reason I knew this song existed was somebody commented it on our YouTube comments. I don't know if it was you. Maybe it was. If not, it was somebody else.
Probably was.
But I was scrolling through the YouTube comment section and someone asked me the same question. It has to be you, I would imagine. And I had absolutely no clue that the band Stained has a song called Zoe Jane, which is the name of my daughter, that is about the lead singer singing to his daughter. And that blew my mind when I saw it. I literally had chills go down my body because I got, what are the odds of that? We just went with Zoe Jane because we like the way it sounds. Zoe Jane. It's just, we like the name where you can say the middle name with the first name nice and easy. Yeah. And it's all the same syllables. First name, last name, and middle name are all 4 letters, all flow nicely. Yep. So that's just we just kind of went with it. We didn't even know what the middle name was going to be until like a day or two before, to be honest with you. When we saw that song existed, not only was it crazy to see the song existed, but the fact that the song was about the lead singer and his daughter blew my mind. Plus, I love Stain. Like I'm a fan of Stain. So the fact I didn't know that song exists, like the whole thing was crazy to me to find that out. Crazy.
Is Stain is that the hip hop group from the 90s?
That is not. It would be actually the exact opposite. You might know the song. And it's been a while since I first saw you. And everything I can remember is effed up as it all may seem. That's Stained right there. And then there's another song that's So Far Away, another Stained song, right?
Where's the Jay-Z remix come in? No,
that's Linkin Park.
Oh, there you go.
Linkin Park's the Jay-Z remix. But anyway, I was stunned, man.
That's pretty cool, man. Zoe Jane. So you guys are blasting that in the house now, man.
I know. We already got our wedding song, or her wedding song picked out 40 years from now, should she decide to do that.
There you go.
But there you go. Yeah.
Love every bit of it. My man Jacob comes back and says, hey, Bishop will either be out there running through Bronco players or getting pick 6. Not overhyping anything. That's just what he does. He's that good. Bro, did you see Parker Washington when he went down wobbly after he kind of concussed? I don't know if you saw that clip. There's a clip.
Yeah.
Do you know who he smacked? Cole Bishop.
Dude, that guy, he's got to be the hardest hitting guy on the team.
Bro, Cole Bishop. And it looked like a little love tap. Just kind of, I'm here. And then Buddy was like, whoa, got the old jello legs and went down. And I was like, golly, man, Cole Bishop not playing around.
Him and Milano, I'd honestly maybe rather get hit by a car than get hit tackled by them.
Those boys don't play around, man. Those boys don't play around. What's Scotty Dub saying?
Scotty's saying, as a Chiefs fan, wow, welcome in, gang. Loving this. Scotty, as a Chiefs fan, this will be the first time in a long time I will be rooting for the Bills. Beat the Donkeys. Go Bills. See, as we were talking about earlier, there's something about the bitterness of a division rival. And the Chiefs should have no ill will against Buffalo. In the biggest moments, they've beaten them every time. So we appreciate having you aboard, Scotty, going up against these Broncos. It makes you question yourself, though, Rico. Say the AFC Championship this year. Say the Bills were in the Chiefs' shoes, didn't make it. And say the AFC Championship was the Kansas City Chiefs and the New England Patriots. Where does your allegiance lie?
Oh, man. Sadly, I'd have to say the Kansas City Chiefs. Have to say the Kansas City. I'll tell you why. And I think you and I might be on the same page. I just can't have second-year quarterback Drake May with a Super Bowl over Josh Allen.
Plus potentially an MVP.
No. Not on my watch. Not ever. I'd rather give it to Pat Mahomes again because he's done that before. It's the norm. Have another. Right? It's like Tom Brady. What's you got 4? What's 5? What's 6? What's 7? Yeah. At least it's in your grasp. But to give it to Drake May, no, sir. We won't have that. And that's why Josh needs to get one before Lamar. He needs to get one before all these other guys. I think he's due. Josh is due. I don't want to see Sam Darnold get one. I just don't.
I wouldn't hate that. That wouldn't bug me.
I don't want to see Brock Purdy get one. I just don't.
Well, so you just don't want to see anybody with 17 then. And then I agree with you.
I need my 17 getting it. If 17 doesn't get it.
You know what I'd hate to see is Stroud win one off the back of that defense.
Oh, my gosh. I would hate that.
Dude, he just fumbled it 5 times the other day, and his defense outscored the Pittsburgh offense.
You are absolutely freaking right. If he gets one on the back, I might as well call you freaking Tampa Bay quarterback Dilfer.
Trent
not even Dilfer. Was it not Tampa Bay? Brad
Dilfer was with Baltimore when they won.
I'm talking about Brad Johnson. Was it Brad Johnson with Tampa?
No,
Brad something. Somebody help me out. When the Tampa Bay Bucks with Gruden won it, I was like, man, I ain't trying to have that.
It was Brad Johnson. You're right.
Brad Johnson, bro. Brad Johnson, bro. He be winning and I don't mind Brad Johnson. That's the comp for me.
Former Bill.
That Tampa Bay Bucks defense was legit. Brad Johnson, get out of here, man. I ain't trying to have that. There's a funny story. You probably have heard it already. It's on YouTube where Gruden. Boy, could you imagine if Gruden wants to come back and coach? And
I love that guy. I would hire him I would hire him in like a culture role in a second. 100%. I just love that guy. So, there's a clip of him today, by the way. He was at the airport and he runs into like this Division III college, Division III collegiate volleyball team. And the way he's interacting with this guy, it's like, dude, how could you hate this guy? How could you not like this guy?
Listen to this story. He becomes a coach for the Tampa Bay Bucks. And he's been setting the tone. He goes, we're going to run it down their throats on the defense all practice long. Hey, defense, we're running the football all game long. We're going to set the tone. So defense is getting ready for it. He goes to Brad Johnson, bro, throw that flat. And I want you to do it. He goes, what? He goes, throw the flat. He throws the flat. Running back goes for a touchdown. Defense is pissed. Warren Sapp, all those big words. They're like, what the So that it set the tone for the rest of the year. He goes, that's what I want. I want psychos. I was like, you bring that to any team, bro? Like, it's a shame what happened to him in the Raiders. I don't know what that whole freaking fiasco was. This guy's got to be a coach again. He's got to be a coach again.
He is the definition of a football guy.
Hell yeah, man.
He is football. John Gruden is football.
And he don't play no games, man. No games. Love it. All right, let's go to our guy, Richie. Richie says, yo, hot take. Trubisky in game in the fourth quarter in a good way. Hey,
just like last year, Richie.
If we got Josh Allen putting the old ball cap on,
I wouldn't hate it.
We wouldn't hate it. Wouldn't hate it. Get right. What up, Get Right? What's Get Right saying?
Get Right. Saying the only way we lose is we beat ourselves. Penalties and turnovers. Other than that, it is a lock.
Gee, everybody's feeling this game. I like it.
It's kind of scaring me, Rico. It's kind of scaring me. Get Right's also saying, P.S. I made a statement comparing our defense to Lisa Ann after the Dolphins. Hell, has Rico ever investigated into who that is? I don't know, but Get Right. That was an all time.
That was an all time. I'm sitting here not knowing Lisa Ann. What's that? You're like, what?
That was a top moment. Like if we have to go and do the top 10 highlight reel at some point when it's all said and done, that's making the list. Money, Mitch, Bot. Yes, me feeling good makes me sick to my stomach with anxiety. Yeah, see, we can't have anything, Money Mitch. We can't have nice things. When it's bad, it's bad. When it's good, it's bad. I mean, what are we doing? But we can't help it. We can't help it.
We're sick. But I'm intrigued at the amount of people that are like, we got this. We got this.
I think it's just because it's just we know the reason why. Josh Allen just gave us the reason on Sunday. Everybody saw that, and they're saying, listen, like, go do it again. Richie, dude, he's going to be on with Pierre, by the way, tomorrow.
Ooh,
Pierre
I like
was
that.
Lit last week. He's going to be lit tomorrow. You're damn right he is, Richie. No question about it.
Bro, before we get out of here, I was on with Thigh Dog on Wednesday, and we were just chatting. We were talking about injuries, and we were talking about the Josh Allen injury. Did you have a chance to really look at how bad that could have been?
Yeah, I mean, it's amazing
to this day.
Yeah, I said to you're talking about the Texans game?
No, I'm talking about the recent game that.
Sure.
Bent up a little bit. And he was in an awkward position. That could have. I was even telling Jenna about it, and I was like, man, we were this close to not having a quarterback and having Trubisky, and then now Josh having to miss some time, and then I started to marvel at how freaking built for tough this guy is.
It's unbelievable. Like what he overcame in that game, and not only got out alive, but was the reason why they got out alive. When you factor in, he needed to have 2 come from behind drives in the fourth quarter without a run game, with one of the poorer wide receiver cores in the league, and the fact that he suffered 3 significant injuries in that game. He further aggravated the foot, the knee, and the finger. Plus, what felt like multiple hits to the head that he had to get evaluated for. It was one of the, when you factor in all the circumstances, Rico, all-time performance from Josh Allen in the wild card last weekend. All time.
Buddy, it's gonna be something else. We got Vavascom says, come on, Bills gotta move up. Plus the Pats has to move up. I want to beat the Bills in the AFC. Oh, look at this guy, huh?
All right. Hey, listen, I wouldn't hate it. That would mean we're both playing for the right to move on to Super Bowl 60.
Absolutely.
So I wouldn't hate it. Listen, we know this weekend's going to be absolutely jam-packed with excitement. Make it that much more exciting with a sleeper slip. Rico, I built mine, and I know you're telling me. We got Josh Allen more than 1.5 pass TDs. We got Dalton Kincaid more than 36.5 receiving yards. We think that's going to be a pivotal aspect of this game. Bo Nix, less than 1.5 pass TDs. RJ Harvey, less than 50.5 rush yards.
How do you feel about that RJ Harvey? I gotta ask you that. How do you feel about that RJ Harvey?
Listen, they wish that they had J.K. Dobbins healthy right now, and they just don't. So now they're going to have to rely on RJ Harvey, who goes into this one with 540 yards on 146 attempts. So he's less than 4 yards an attempt here, Rico. This isn't a run game that's coming into this game with the capabilities, at least as of right now. We'll see if they find a way to rewrite the script, but this isn't a run game you look at going into this one that you think is going to be able to fully take advantage of that Bills run defense. This is why I think there's another advantageous element to this game towards Buffalo. Last week, I thought ETN was going to be able to do that, and it really wasn't a factor for Liam Cohen. They were running the ball well, Rico. They were running the ball exceptionally well. 14 total carries between him and Bashal, too, and I didn't understand it. So we'll see if they go more for Harvey, but I don't think so. That's what I got right there. You can tell that, or, of course, create your own. Link in the description below. Click that and sign up for Sleeper. Once you do, you will immediately get a free $20 entry. You can use that on the Bills-Broncos game, any of the games in the divisional round, and, of course, NBA, NHL, you name it, it's all on Sleeper. Once you use that free $20 entry, use the promo code on your screen, BF25, and that will get you a 100% match up to $100 on your first deposit. Terms and conditions apply. See Sleeper Terms of Use for details. Currently available in over 25 states. Check out Sleeper via the link in the description below. Rico, 2 hours, 11 minutes in the books. What do you got for the folks before we sign off?
What do we got for the folks? Bro, kill or be killed. That's it. It's kill or be killed tomorrow. 4 p.m. Got to get it done. These boys traveled. Some folks are talking about, man, we should have traveled a little sooner. Some folks are saying, hey, man, when you're a warrior, it don't matter where you you got to bring your warrior mentality to the battlefield. I don't care. That's the time you want me to. Let me prepare my guys first. Now we're ready to go. We got one more game to go before we move on to the next. One game at a time. That's how I say it. 3 more in total. 2 more before we really got to get dialed in. But we got to get this one right now. This is the one tomorrow. A lot of guys feel good. Bot feels sick. I don't know how I feel just yet, but I'm on the side that feels pretty damn good. Bot, how you feeling?
We'll be bringing that warrior mentality like the Bills will be tomorrow your way on the pregame show, so make sure you get some sleep tonight. You're going to need it. 3:30 p.m. Eastern tomorrow. We will be live with you to get you set for this massive divisional showdown to kick off divisional weekend in Denver. For the game that kicks off at 4:30 p.m. Eastern, Pierre will be hanging out with you throughout its duration. And then, of course, upon the conclusion of the divisional round, or the divisional game, rather, Rico and I will be with you for the BF post-game show, and hopefully we are talking about an AFC Championship appearance. We cannot wait. But for tonight, that's 2 hours and 12 minutes in the books. We appreciate each and every one of you for tuning in, and we can't wait to see you tomorrow. That's Rico. I'm Bot. Much love as always, and go Bills.
Go Bills.